The audio is off. Okay, audio is on. Audio is on now? Audio is on. Maybe he was coming in for audio. Were you coming in for audio? Yo. Okay, guess he was. All right. So let's make sure the audio is good now. I don't think the audio is on. Let's check it out. Sound check. Okay, sound check. So in the comments said, bro, he probably spitting facts. He not even worried about the sound check. Yo, chat, y'all funny. My bad about the audio there, man. Sorry about that. I had it on just a regular mute button. I'm not sure why it had it on mute, but let's go ahead and restart this all over because I done did my whole intro and everything. So welcome to No Fugazee Podcast. Welcome. I'm your host, Cooley. Tonight is debate night, and also we are reacting to some content. Some of the first content that we're going to be reacting to is Wes Huff. He had an interview on the Flagrant podcast, which I thought was really interesting. So we're going to go ahead and react to that. Then I did a debate last night on the Raging Tomatoes podcast with Sarah. I debated two feminists. It was me and Kat debated two feminists. I think Kat, she's part of the Crucible team from what I've heard. But me and her, we went against these two feminists in regards of the conversation of is OnlyFans harmful to society? It was an easy debate. The opponents put up no arguments at all. So we're going to go ahead and react to that content of the debate that I did last night. I know you guys are probably like, yo, where did the stream go from last night's debate? So I was connected to the Raging Tomatoes podcast when it was up. And then when I exited the stream, it took down, it totally deleted the stream from my YouTube account. I was like, what the heck? So we're going to react to that for sure so some of y'all can see it. Without further ado, we got a few links in the YouTube description. The first link is going to be to join the stream. If you want to debate about any topics, feminism, if you're secular, you want to debate about, if you're atheist, you want to debate about religion, if you don't believe in gender roles and you're like some male feminist or something, just join the stream. Pretty much if you watch any of my content and if you have any disagreements with my content that you see, this is the time for all of you people to come on stream and debate live. I do open debate nights. Tonight is your night to debate Cooley and challenge me live. So that's going to be the first link in the YouTube description. The second link in the YouTube description is going to be for the memberships. We got 3 tiers. First tier is gang. Second tier is hitman. Third tier is mob ties. Join a membership, man. We got a lot of people that's in there that join a membership. Shout out to Juan Martinez. He's always in there gifting memberships to people. So if you're ever gifted a membership by any of the supporters, just make sure, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you renew your membership. And you also get access to special perks like that. So special perks and stuff. You get to DM me on Instagram. I get right back to you within usually less than a few hours. I get right back to you if you are a member. So there's some special perks with signing up for the membership. But overall, it helps push the podcast forward. You know what I mean? So sign up for the membership if you like the content that you're seeing. It helps it grow. Now, so we are supposed to have a full panel dating podcast this Friday. Supposed to have a full panel dating podcast this Friday. It's like 50-50 chance that it will happen and it won't happen. It all depends on if the recruiting team is recruiting enough girls. Because remember, in order to do the dating show, we got to get at least 20 yeses to get 4 to 6 girls to show up. That's how it is, man. When you do these full panel podcasts, because we don't pay the girls, right? No shade on anyone that pay girls to come on, but I've never paid any woman to come on a podcast to have a conversation. What I look like? I ain't simping over here. I ain't finna pay no chick to come and have a conversation with me. And if anything, they get clout off of it, right? My platform is already big, so what I look like paying a chick? If I paid chicks, I'm sure it wouldn't be a problem, having at least 2 to 3 panels each week. But I ain't in the business of paying no chick for her to just sit there and say something dumb anyway, right? With that being said, we got a recruiting team, and we usually, how it works is you need to have 20 yeses to get 4 to 6 to come, because, chicks be flaky, man. If you're in the dating market, or if you ever were in a dating market within this social media age, right? Within the last 10 years, these chicks be flaky, man. They will flake on you in an instant. They'll say yes, and then just do a no call, no show. They'll say maybe. Look, if a chick say yes, that means maybe. If she says maybe, that means no. If she says no, it could mean yes, but usually it means no. That's how women operate, man. If you don't understand that, you living in a box. All right. So let's get started with, let's see here. We're going to do, well, first, we got to honor the members, right? So for the members that join the membership, that sign up for the membership, they send me some stuff that they want me to react to. So first, I'm going to get to their stuff while we're waiting for people to come in and join debate night. And then we'll get to the Wes Huff clip, and then we'll get to the debate that I did last night, debating those 2 feminists that got washed. It was like a debate where it's like, they're not making any arguments. It's not even like a challenge. It was actually a little bit weird. I thought they would put up much more of a fight. And it's funny because part of my debating style too is counterattacks. I'm a counterattacker, and I'm good at setting up, asking a probing question and doing a setup. I can counterattack and then set people up. A lot of dry air in that debate last night. The arguments, they put up no argument. So it's just like, well, I already said, why I think that OF is harmful for society. So is there anything else? Like, how much more elaboration do you need? Like, how much of a case do I really need to put forth? But yeah, okay. So let's get into some of these clips from the membership real quick. And also, people that's tuning in right now on YouTube, go ahead and if you have any questions, send in the super chat and I'll get right to you. Kat, greetings, Kat. I see you in here. Hey, yeah, Kat. That debate last night was freaking weird. And shout out to you. You're a smart individual. She was my teammate, everyone. Kat was my teammate. Smart. She brung up some statistics and stuff like that, which was good. Let me see what you said. Yeah, sorry about that. Tomato told me to debate. It was my first time. Okay, it was your first time. Okay, I didn't even know it was your first time. Okay. First time debating. All right. Well, I mean, for it being your first time, it was like perfect for the people that we debated, because those 2 individuals that we debated, they put up 0 arguments. It's like, and it was funny, like, you're trying to debate someone that is not putting up any argument. Now, we have the affirmative, so I'm affirming, like, well, like, it's harmful. I'm demonstrating it with just using straight logic. You demonstrated yours with, bringing some statistics into place and some data, which was good. And then they put up no argument, and then their rebuttals to stuff was like silly. It wasn't. It had no base to it. So yeah, man. But I think it was good, Kat, for your first debate to get your feet wet. You know what I mean? I think it was good. But normally, when I step into the Raging Tomatoes debates, they're a little bit more fiery, and people put up more of a challenge. So Yeah, I see what you said. Yeah, you said that for your points, they just said no, then you moved on. Um, yeah, like think about that, right? You made your points and they were just like, no. Wait, what? What? That's not an argument. You're not making an argument. That's why we couldn't really go back and forth and we couldn't get in depth. And that's what I think the the Raging Tomatoes chat was complaining about. Like, yo, there's an argument here, but like push it to its conclusion. Things wasn't going to its conclusion because they wasn't like arguing the content, arguing, they didn't have any pushback on argument. All right, so and once again, anyone else, if you want me to go ahead and read your super chats, you got to send in. I mean, if you want me to go ahead and read your chats, you got to send in super chat. I was just reading the regular chat from Kate because that was my teammate last night on the Raging Tomatoes podcast debate. And yeah, we never even spoke before the debate. So I'm just honoring her for, tuning in and supporting the channel currently right now. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and get to these reactions from the supporters. Oh, and I didn't review these. I don't know what they sent in. But hopefully it's something good, Hopefully. Here we go. All right. Let's do it like that.
A woman my age can make a man come in a minute because we just know what to do. We know how to touch you. We know how to please you. We know how to, we're going to get up. We're going to get the warm rag for you. We're going to make sure you clean. We're going to make you breakfast. Like, that comes with an older.
Time out. I thought Amber Rose was like one of those women that's like a reformed Christian. Like, you said that I guess you're saying that before she was a complete liberal, sex walk and all of those other type of things. She was fully with the entire sexual liberation movement. Then it seems like last year when Trump was running, she made a complete switch and she's saying that she's going to be more conservative and vote Republican and how the left is all propaganda and they lied to her. So, but now it's like, we're watching this video just a few seconds in and you're speaking all of the sexual stuff right now. A woman that's older can make it. And come on, like conservative women wouldn't speak like that, right? Like that's just silly. I know it's content, but it's like, if you really change your ways, change your way. But let's see where this is going. It says Amber Rose explaining to Ray J why it is that younger men like older women so much. So currently, thus far, her explanation of why younger men like older women is because older women are more sexual and can make you come fast. Well, I'll break this down for you guys. Let's continue on.
Woman. A young woman, not to say that there's not young women that will do that, but for the most part, it's going to be an older woman that's why the young boys like us so much.
1 minute and clean, they said. Jesus.
You know what I mean?
That's incorrect. The young guys like the older women is because the older women are easier. It's just the facts. You're older, you're not getting as much attention as when you were younger, so it's a easier mating strategy for when young guys want to just get sex. Not because the older chicks are better at sex or that can make them come faster. No, like that has nothing to do. It ain't nothing you can do. I'm 36 years old. It ain't nothing you could do from, me messing with younger girls when I was younger or me messing with older girls. There's nothing, no older girl, the woman with more experience to make a man come faster. If anything, men are more attracted to inexperience. So the girl that seems like she don't know what she doing and you may be her first one, that may be actually more exciting than a chick that everybody done ran through her like, man, I ain't even the first nigga up in here. I'm not the second nigga. I'm probably not the 50th nigga. I'm like the 90th, 8th person. God dang, this is whatever, chick. That isn't making the man come faster. She just speaking nonsense right now. Younger men go for older women because guess what? Those older women got less options, so they're easier. It's an easier source, an easier candidate. Them younger chicks, no, they got mad options.
So the warm towel is a very, very good
And not only that, the younger girls, they're barely going for the younger guys because the younger guys aren't established. And we know that, you know, a woman that has the world's her oyster and she has many options, the more her standards go up. It's like, I got options, so why would I date you? Why would I choose you? Oh, I got this NBA player in my DMs. I have this NFL player in my DMs. This guy from my city is trying to holler at me. He doesn't stand a chance because them younger chicks got options like that.
Yeah, we're going to give you the warm towel. We're going to make you some French toast in the morning, some scrambled eggs. We're going to get you, we're going to get you back right.
That part is a fact. Them older chicks with kids, they will let you drink the kids' juicy juice. That is a fact. You can drink all the kids' juicy juice. You can eat the fruit snacks. You got access to the kitchen, my dog. So yeah, that's a benefit. That's a benefit of why those little young snacker-toofs are messing with them older chicks. But that ain't the reason why they're messing with them old chicks. The reason why, once again, is because just an easier option. Okay, let's continue on.
You know what I mean? And we're also just more confident in our bodies. A woman my age can make a man come in a minute.
Okay, that's it? Ain't nothing else? Okay. Nope, it is more to it.
First of all, Amber Rose, that went viral. You said you slept in the bed with Amber Rose every night. And I remember you said that, but nothing happened, right?
I said me and Amber slept together every night.
Mm-hmm. I said.
So you saying slept together, you mean
on
like
College Hill?
Slept together just
there was
in
a
the same
ghost.
bed.
Wasn't there a ghost or something?
She was seeing ghosts.
Right.
And she said, Ray J, I need you to sleep with me.
Got it.
And as a friend and as somebody.
I got the music in the background. Probably got to stop playing that part. I just heard it just now. Don't want to get a copyright strike. So pretty much Ray J is saying here that he slept in the bed with Amber Rose but ain't do nothing. He most likely clapped cheeks. Definitely clapped cheeks. I would say it definitely. Now, is there a small probability that it was fully platonic? Yeah, could have been on her period. Could have, just been, a situation where it wasn't going down like that. But, I would have to say that high probability that he clapped cheeks. High probability. 98% chance that he clapped them cheeks. But that isn't a win. Everybody done had them cheeks. Don't even matter. It don't even matter. All right, let's get to another clip. See what the supporters sent in. Okay, here we go. Let's try that again.
Tend to experiment earlier with sexual relationships. In fact, we see, again, a measurable difference in the girls.
Let's replay that. Missed that first part.
Tend to experiment earlier with sexual relationships. In fact, we see, again, a measurable difference in the girl's body. On average, girls who are raised apart from their biological father will experience their first period 1 year earlier than girls who are raised in the home of their biological dad.
Yeah.
There's several theories about why that is, but something about having no father in the home or foreign pheromones of mother's boyfriend or a stepfather that initiates an early reproductive cycle in the girl. Couple that with the likely father hunger that she is experiencing, because all little girls long for, are made for, and desire to be cherished by a man. And if the man is not her father, who is offering that kind of protective guidance, she will find a man to love her. It just might be for 5 minutes on a Friday night. That is why 63% of girls in the United States who have teen pregnancies come from fatherless homes, right? Not only because they're reproductively ready, but they're vulnerable to the wrong kind of male attention. Boys who don't grow up with...
So far, she's spitting facts right here. She is spitting facts, things that I always speak about on the podcast myself. Women that come from fatherless homes, they're more likely to, be susceptible to outside influences, hang around the wrong crowds. That's, daughters and sons. And they're just more likely to be degenerates, right? With that being said, as far as the examples that she's given in, what it does to the younger girls' hormones and stuff like that, I've seen some studies on that as well. So it seems that what she's saying holds some validity for sure in regards to that. Let's continue on.
A father. Brad Wilcox just unveiled this astounding finding in his book, Get Married. He found that if a boy grows up without a father, he is more likely to go to prison than graduate from college. That is the impact of a fatherless home on a boy. Criminality is the more predictable result for boys. Why is that? Because fathers are distinctly wired to regulate a child's aggression, specifically a boy's aggression. And if they do not have a father in the home wrestling with them when they are age 4, arm wrestling with them when they're age 6, building and chopping and climbing trees, if they don't have a father that is channeling that aggressive, that competitiveness, sometimes the first time they run into that kind of physical boundary is with the police. And unfortunately, that's not the right place to test out your aggressiveness. They will find somebody like the girls, they will find a man to love them and shape them and guide them. And a lot of times it's a gang leader, somebody that is going to use them to advance their own aims. So fatherlessness is really at the heart of most of the social ills that we're facing in America, certainly in the UK too. I know that right now you have, I think 50% of the children in the UK will reach their 14th birthday in a fractured home. Girl.
She is spitting big facts. That is 100% true. 100% true what she's stated. And just to expound even more on some of the points that she made, it's just, well, before we get to that, it's just funny because when we know the reality of things and we know these things are true from what we can observe as well, like even if you don't give the stats, if you're just a perspicacious individual, you can observe this. You can say, single mother homes. Like if you just go into a neighborhood and it's like, oh, moms is off at work, kids are at daycare and stuff, no man. Okay, so who's raising these kids? Oh, the daycare is raising these kids, or some after school program is helping raise the kids, right? And it's like those neighborhoods, if it's a lot of them, large numbers of that, you can see the degeneracy because kids happen to just rebel against their mothers because they just tend to listen to the fathers more because the fathers is a more dominant force and a more dominant presence around and in the household. So it's funny because feminism promotes be independent, women. You don't need a man. You can do bad or by yourself. Go ahead out there and chase your career. Do not chase a relationship and marriage with a man. Leave all of that behind. Do it after you already have your career. Then you get these chicks. They're still having sex though, right? So then you get these chicks. They hook up with someone. They get knocked up and they're a single mom, right? They're a single mom. And then their children is being raised by just a mom or some weird boyfriend that comes in and out every now and then. Or they're being raised by the daycare or some after school program. So they truly don't have any guidance of a masculine figure that has their best interests, which would be their father, their biological father, right? So it's funny, that's what feminism promotes, and we see the bad effects of that with all of the single mother households that's going on, right? Now, there's, of course, a lot of other things that led to women being single without the man in the home. It wasn't just feminism. We can say, welfare pushed that, especially in a black community. A lot of women going on welfare, and welfare says, well, hey, we'll give you this money if you don't have the father in the home, if you're not married and stuff like that, if you're not living with the man So they're like, okay, well, that's an incentivation, and that's incentivizing the woman to say, oh, we're not getting along right now. Well, nigga, I don't need your little check. I just go ahead and hop on welfare, help me pay my bills, get some food stamps. I'll be fine. I could do bad all by myself, nigga. I don't want you. So that's an incentivization for the woman to go ahead and kick the man out the house and think that she can do everything on her own. Now, yeah, they'll be, maybe taking care of the bills a little bit and just getting by and having enough money to buy little Billy some fake Nikes and, stuff like that. And little Billy gets made fun of at school and stuff like that. And they'll just have enough money to get by, right? Homie eating some, juices with red 40 in it. Not the juicy juice, the good stuff, but maybe that crappy stuff. I think nowadays food stamps allows you to buy the good stuff. But I'm thinking, I'm old, man. I'm 36. I'm thinking in the 90s. Like, God dang, it's a lot of things in the 90s. Man, it was too expensive. The food stamps wasn't enough. It was too expensive to shop at, the good stores. You had to shop at, too expensive to shop at Whole Foods. You had to shop at like some little mom and pop shop down the street where you ain't get Fruity Pebbles. You got like Fruity Rice. You got the off-brand knockoff stuff with high levels of red 40 and all of this dyes that's not good for kids. But anyways, let's expound on some of the points that she made, because she is speaking facts here. I think that one of the things as well, when it comes to a single mother home and why it degrades the society from inside out. One of the things, but why it's important for the father to be there. Like, if you just think about this real quick, I'm just thinking with y'all out loud as well. I'm thinking out loud and speaking to y'all. The nuclear family has always been the backbone of American society. So a father and a mother being in a home is very important for the child's development. We can say, well, what's like that natural role of the father? When the child is, and what's the natural role of the mother? When the child is going throughout their childhood life, playing sports and stuff like that. For an example, if the kid is playing basketball and the kid loses the game, they lost that game. The mother is more there to coddle the kid, to let the kid know, hey, little Billy, you did great. I love you despite you losing this game. It doesn't matter if the kid scored 0 points, if the kid had a horrible game, that mother would still show the kid love. That's what would happen in a 2-parent household, right? The father would say, hey, little Billy, here's what you can do better, right? So what is this doing to the kid? What is this developing? What is this helping the kid develop? It's helping the kid regulate their emotions. Because if, despite how you did, the mother is there to coddle you and say, hey, you did great anyway, it's helping the kid so he doesn't fall into a depression state. And depression is when you're worried about the past. So let's say after the next day, the kid will be more likely not to fall into depression because the mother is there coddling the kid and letting her know that it doesn't matter about this game. I love you anyway. You're doing great, which means that the kid wouldn't be worried about this past game or the current game. The father is there to give the kid a plan. Hey, Billy, you did okay, but here's what you can do better. Now, what's anxiety? Anxiety is when you dwell on the future. You have anxiety, like, oh, I don't know what to expect. You don't have a plan. When you have anxiety, bro, when you really don't have a plan. And I think the father is there to let you know that you can do better. What's doing better? Future. You did great. You are great. That's talking about the current and the past. It doesn't matter how you did, right? That's talking about the past, right? So the mother is there to help the kid not to fall in depression, and the father is there to help the kid not to fall into anxiety. So depression and anxiety. So it's helping the kid regulate their emotions. And when you have this balance, it also instills other things into the kid. It's like, well, one, the kid had a sucky game. So it's like, all right, I'm not going to go ahead and dwell on that game. Listen, it is what it is. The father is telling you, hey, you could do better. Here's a plan to do better. I'll go ahead and coach you, and we're going to shoot some more shots in the backyard. So now you'll be even more confident when it comes to the next game. So it truly, two parents, it truly develops the kid emotions. So I'll go ahead and land my plane there, but I think I laid that out pretty good. But anyways, good clip, whoever sent that to me. Let's move it right along and get to another one. Let's see what we got. And then we'll get into the Wes Huff debate too. Let's see. What's this?
Honk, babe, honk!
What the fuck is he doing?
He's sleeping, babe! Stop! He probably fell asleep or something.
What?
He's not paying attention. Stop honking him. You're causing trouble, honey.
Bro, this chick delusional. I see. This is one of them clips for it says for educational purposes only. Like if you just seen this, the people that's tuning in right now, first she says, honk, babe, honk. Her boyfriend's honked. He honks the horn. After he honks, she's like, stop honking. Why would you honk the horn? He's probably like sleeping. Let's continue on.
He probably just didn't think. He even crashed himself. We didn't do anything to him.
I know. I'm not saying we did.
Okay, I
right
guess.
when you know you're gonna hit someone, honey, you have to honk. Get out the
Well, I
way.
wasn't gonna hit him.
Now she's going back. If you already know that you're going to hit someone, honey, you have to honk. I thought you just told him not to honk. Okay, so this is I guess this is supposed to be like a funny video showing like, women's nature. That's not all women, but, a lot of women are definitely dramatic. When they're in a passenger seat, man, listen, man, chicks in a passenger seat, bro, like don't be no passenger seat driver. Just shut up and stay quiet and let the man do his thing. Like, you talking too much. Actually, all their little yip yapping and being so dramatic, like, oh, you almost hit that. God dang, chick, now you almost made me hit it. I was driving perfectly fine. I seen it coming from my peripheral, but you screamed. I thought something else came, and I stopped on my brakes hard. Someone could have smashed me from behind. No homo, because that sounded crazy. But you get what I mean. It's like chicks be so dramatic. All right, let's get to the next clip. That was a quick one. Let's see. What's this?
Never cross their legs.
Let's go back. I couldn't hear what this nigga said.
What's worse, crossing your legs or leaning in?
Okay, let's go back again. Couldn't hear him.
Text me. Men should never cross their legs. What's worse, crossing your legs or leaning in? Text me. Men should never cross their legs.
Okay, so he said men should never cross their legs. I'm going to be honest. Realistically, I don't think I've ever crossed my legs. It's not, I see what he's saying. This guy is funny, and it's so funny. He looks like a true dork, and he's trying to be all masculine. Men should never cross their legs. Bro, I'll flick, if not even flick you, if my presence in your face, and I got a soft voice too, but I got a big presence, right? But my presence came to your face, and I just was like, gave you a little mean mug, like, what? Any type of mean mug. Urgh. He'll be like, oh my gosh, just call 911. He got the nerve to say, men should never cross your legs. It's funny because some of these conservatives be the most like littlest, pathetic, like puny little men out there. But what he's saying, it holds some validity. I see what he's saying. Men should never cross their legs. Like, come on, bro, don't take on the mannerisms of a female. But it is some players out there that do cross their legs. Depending on if there's a full lock. Also depending on the type of clothing that you're wearing. But me, myself, and I personally, I've never crossed my legs. Now, when it comes to leaning in, he's speaking about taking a picture with your woman. A man should never lean in for the photo when you're taking that picture. And to a degree, I'm with that. Depending on how far he's, like if the chick is like this, standing and posing, and that nigga leaned all the way, like he leaning all the way in like this for the picture, yeah, that look a little sus. Like, why are you leaning this far and showing this much validation where the woman should be showing the validation towards you. But I'm a tall guy, so usually if I'm taking a picture with Shorty, it's already a little slouch anyway. It's already a little slouch. Even when she leaning in, I'm already like slouched like that, so you'll see a little tilt. But yeah, so I mean, that part I guess I agree a little bit. We got Mike Young sends in $2. Thoughts on Trump's presidency so far? Okay, thoughts on Trump's presidency so far. You know what? It's been about 100 days or a little bit over 100 days. And I would say my thoughts on it is there's many things that he can, he could do better and pick it up on, I would say. But the Doge thing was good. The Doge thing with Elon Musk, when he came in and shooting from the hip, like, listen, we finna find all the fraud. We finna find all this fraud. I'm like, oh, homie is not playing any type of games at all. I did like him, bringing in Doge. I thought that was bold. I thought it was good. And yeah, in regards to the tariffs is like, it's going to be pros and cons to tariff. I get the ideas of tariffs because it's like, let's play the long game. If we just let you guys, like if we let China and all of these other countries, put tariffs on us, and then the things that we export is being, heavily taxed, but the things that people are importing to us aren't being heavily taxed, it's like, come on now, what is this? What's going on here? So, and it's to incentivize, our labor culture, our labor economy. So it's like, for the long game, yes. Do we need more businesses? Do we need businesses to establish a base so they can import goods and services to those other countries? We do need that because that would bring more jobs. So the tariffs is like, okay, we're just going to go ahead and tariff everybody, and it don't matter how much they taxing us. We're going to just go ahead and build more companies, and we're going to see. We haven't seen anything though. We haven't seen any negative effects. Rarely any negative effects or any, positive effects of the tariffs besides him making some deals. So I do think the tariffs has been scaring people, has been scaring Canada, has been scaring a lot of these countries. And I think he even made a deal with China just recently as well. So it definitely has been, the tariffs is like, it's like an ultimatum, it's an ultimatum. It's like, bro, you either gonna do this. It's an ultimatum for the negotiation table, right? Because you want to maybe negotiate some other deal. So it's like, listen, you're gonna go negotiate this deal, or I'm gonna tariff you. You know what I'm saying? So, not a bad idea. When it comes to the wars, we got what's going on in Israel, what's going on in Ukraine and stuff like that. When it comes to the wars, it seems that I'm not up to date on what's going on with him and Putin, but I thought that him and Putin did just come to some sort of deal so they can go ahead and stop that war out there. But it looks like he's doing a much better job than Biden. Much better job. If Biden was still in office, the draft would have probably happened in World War III because Biden was not. Biden, them Democrats is all about war, bro. War hungry. It's crazy how they try to be liberal and we're about peace and stuff. No, bro, they all about war. And the thing is, they all about wars because they don't have to go to war. They don't have to go to war. So it's like, yeah, I'm okay with putting they claim to be the party of empathy. It's crazy, these Democrats, right? These feminists, these left-wing people, they claim to be the party of empathy and empathetic, and we're caring about the disenfranchised, but they're so quick to go to war. They don't care about the people that has to go to war, that limbs get blown off, that, people a lot of people, families, brothers and sisters never come back from wars and stuff like that, or not even just us here in America. They don't even have empathy for the other countries who we're going to war against sometimes. Like, God dang, all the innocent people that we're going to be killing. Like, do we really need to kill people like this? Bro, that is not a party of empathy. That's a party of manipulation. They always go into the wars to fund whatever agendas that they have going on. That's my perspective on it. But anyways, we got a lot of people on Facebook right now. Everybody that's on Facebook, come on over to YouTube. Come on over to YouTube at No Fugazee Podcast. Come on over to YouTube. Debate night is continuing on, but we are going to be reacting to some clips as well. Let me check here. Facebook, it be mad people on. Already over 3,000 views on Facebook. A lot of people tuning in. So all the people currently that's on Facebook live stream, please come on over to YouTube so we can get the live stream numbers up. I'm going to go ahead and close down a Facebook stream now. That's No Fugazee Podcast on YouTube. I am closing down a Facebook stream right now. All right. So go ahead and close this out. All right, let me go ahead and close. I can keep this up, get to another clip real quick. All right, we got another clip and then we're going to go ahead and hop into the reaction video of Wes Huff on the Flagrant podcast. And then we're also going to react to the debate I just did last night on Raging Tomatoes podcast against two feminists. So they're going to like that. All right, let's go.
Loser. You piece of shit caught in the day. Bro, you're good. Hey, props up to you.
Dude, come on.
What do you mean, come on? You understand she had my child and killed it with an abortion? 2 years we're together with a wedding ring? Cheated on me 7 times, here's 8. Let her shake and talk shit about you. And realize this. You are the biggest scumbag ever. Cry your eyes out, play a victim, we just got you caught. Finish sucking his dick. I'll see you later. Finish sucking his dick. You fucking loser. You're so exposed. Dumb fucking bitch. Fucking.
All right, this is funny. And the crazy thing is Shorty is just sitting there like this the whole time. Now, when people send me these videos, this could just be a whole act. This one doesn't seem like an act or anything. This one seems pretty real. She's sitting there in shock. He caught her sucking off some dude's wang, and that is his wife, I believe he said, or they're engaged. The crazy thing is that it's the 8th time he caught her cheating, and he's still with her. This is what you call a simp. This is a simp. Simping means when you are doing things for the woman, but she doesn't reciprocate the same value back on her end. She doesn't reciprocate the equal opposite value back on her end. And the equal opposite value from that would be on the woman's end would be, well, loyalty. Yeah. Being submissive, listening to me. Yeah. That's the equal opposite to the man protecting and providing. So he's a simp. He's a sucker. He's a loser. He is getting exactly what he deserved. Then he tells the chick to suck on. I'll see you after this. So, bro, you taking her back. It's going to be the 15th time. You're going to keep catching her because she ain't going to stop, bro. You think just because you exposed her, she's going to like feel any shame? No, if anything, she just hates you even more. She's like, think about it, bro. If a woman is going to be cheating on you, doing the act of cheating, speaking to another, sucking another man's wang, she already cheated on you mentally. right? Prior to her doing the act, the physical influence creates thinking, thinking creates behavior. So prior to her doing the act, she was already thinking about you. She left the relationship way before she ever cheated on you. And this is the 8th time. So that means the first time you thought that you giving her some speech or trying to shame her and chastise her would change her ways. No, this chick is for the streets. Some chicks you can't rehabilitate. There's no rehabilitation you can take them through. They're always gonna be for the streets and remain for the streets. So you leave her there. This guy need to hold on to his nuts, hold on to his dignity, and leave that chick. Matter of fact, she did you a favor by aborting that baby. And I am not pro-abortion, but in your case, listen, dog, you just dodged a bullet. And she helped you dodge that bullet. Now you got no strings attached. You could just up and leave. Peace, chick. You could just up and leave her with no strings attached. She ain't got your kids, bro. Listen, dog. The grass is greener. Look, the glass is half full on your end. Get up out of there before it's too late. Don't let her lock you down with your kid or someone else's kid that you don't know that is your kid. Oh, man. This went all bad for homie. But you know what? A loser like this, that's what's going to happen to him. And men need to understand this. Men need to understand that, listen, man, the woman is a mere reflection of your masculinity, which means that if you're a dweeb and a beta and not masculine and don't stand your ground and don't have any standards or any boundaries in your relationship, then bro, she's a mere reflection of it. Like, obviously she's cheating because you have no standards, you set no boundaries, and she don't really look at you like that. She don't view you like that guy, my friend. She don't view you like that. So with that being said, man, move on. Move on. All right, let's go ahead and stop this and get into these other reactions. Also, anyone that's joining in right now that wants to come in for debate night, it's open debate night, but we're also reacting to some content. But, if you want to debate about anything, any content that you've seen me in and you want to debate, come on in. We'll have some debates. We'll also do some full panel debates so we can have like a few people up and I don't just have to debate me, but if you have a full panel up, you guys can debate one another as well if you have opposing views. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and react to some content for the Wes Huff interview on the Flagrant podcast. Let me go ahead and bring that up. All right. Where are we at with it? All right, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's see if I can make the dimensions a little smaller. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. That'll look better for you guys. I don't really like that one. Let's see if I can get a better one. We'll do it like that for now. Yeah, we'll keep it like that, and then I'll make it bigger as it goes on. All right. Let's check the chats real quick. Okay, shout out to Judge Me Not. Welcome to the gang. Shout out to you for joining the membership. Judge Me Not. Fugazee. Welcome to the gang. We got, let's see here. I think someone just came in for a debate night. Not sure who this is. Let's take a look. Zigzag. Okay, I guess we could put a quick pause since we got someone that popped up. Let's just see what he wants to debate about. May not be anything, but let's check it out. Yo, welcome to No Fugazee Podcast. State your name, where you from?
Zigzag. I'm in North Carolina. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing pretty good. How's everything with you? I think you were up here before.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
I wasn't subscribed to your channel. I just recently subscribed. Somebody sent me a clip that you put up when we debated. I just want to revisit some of the talking a certain way to make it look like
Your
I framed it a way that you wanted to frame it up. What is that?
your audio and video is very shaky. It's not coming in clear.
Mm.
I mean,
Hold on a
could be a
second.
little bit better now, but it was I barely heard anything you said the last 15 seconds.
All right. Well, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. It was just shaky. So repeat what you said the last 20 seconds.
Yeah, I just want to I don't want to be here too long, but I want to revisit what we spoke about in our last debate because I watched the clip that somebody sent me. Um, I didn't even know you put up that clip, but I thought it was great, man. I just want to talk about some of the points that were there. And then I want to actually briefly go into like what your thinking is on feminism. Is that cool?
Yeah, let's do it, man. First, let me get to the super chats. We got the Raging Tomatoes podcast sent in $20. She said, "Money, appreciate you, Sarah. I do appreciate you." Fugazee. Okay, man. So I do not remember the debate we had. I just know that you were up here before. So refresh my memory, and let me know exactly what the debate was about.
All right. The reason I want to cover this is I even watched your debate last night on the Raging Tomato. I thought it was very interesting, but a lot of it comes down from the concept of good and evil. So that's why when we debated, we talked about the validity or existence of God, and you said you explained it logically and with logic and reason. But then I asked you if you believe in science, which heavily relies on logic and reasoning. So we talked about the Holy Ghost topic. Do you remember that
Yeah,
or
I'll
no?
be honest. I do not. Let's just get into the points that you want to debate about. Because I do. How
All
long
right,
ago was
sounds
this?
good.
Was
So,
this months ago?
it was like a month. No, it was a month ago. It was about a month ago. And I watched the debate yesterday, and I was like, saw you
No, it
online
had to
now. I'm like,
been
oh, this is
over.
great.
Yeah, no, it had to been over a month ago, man. It had to been much longer than that because I just know because I've
I
been
just watched it. It said 1 month ago.
okay. Okay, from YouTube on YouTube, it said 1 month ago. Was it a clip you watched?
It was a clip. Yeah, it was a clip. So I guess you posted it after our debate. Our debate may have been a little bit
Yeah,
longer,
okay, that's
like
what it
more
is.
time
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
But
So I mean, I have a
yeah,
team that makes clips and throws stuff up, but I'm sure me and you debated it had to been at least 2 to 3 months ago. But fair enough. Let's go ahead and get to the nuts and crannies of exactly what you want to debate about tonight. Then.
right. So on that same night, I actually reviewed that video, but there was somebody else who spoke about their experience on the
Uh-huh.
Holy Ghost. I remember I asked you your experience on the Holy Ghost, but you gave me a bunch of the what it isn't, but never told me what it is. And I even went back and watched it to try to get an understanding. And because you never told me what it is, but you told me what it
Yeah.
isn't, I never really understood what it is that you were trying to say. Now, this is important because uh, you could basically argue like the whole mind making real thing and whatnot. And I'm big on like individual experiences. That's heavily what I actually believe in as far as masculinity is being aware of your individual self. And somebody who has certain experiences, uh, who is not grounded in that energy, would actually confuse it for something outside of themselves, and it's not, in my opinion. So, can you just tell me what it is rather than what it isn't? Because I never really understood that.
Okay. All right. Cool. You're speaking about the Holy Ghost. I guess I really don't remember. I don't think that the Holy Ghost was our debate because I've never debated the Holy Ghost. That must have been like a sub
It's,
debate within a debate. It must have been like a subcategory.
it was, but I'm gonna segue into like it was, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna segue into like certain like topics about what we spoke
Okay.
about. But it did start with that. But I just
All
need
right,
to have an
cool. Yeah,
understanding of what
so
that
I
is.
mean, from an outsider that never experienced something, I'll go ahead and try to explain it the best way I can. So, for example, before I even try to explain the experience of the Holy Ghost, let me go ahead and try to explain the experience of a plane. For an example, let's think about, you know, 3,000, 2,000 years ago, they never seen any planes. They never seen anything fly besides birds. So let's say someone has a transportation machine where they can transport themselves into the past. And they speak to some people in the past and they say, hey, in the future, we have planes. They fly in the sky. Oh, they'll be like, the way that you can explain it, you would have to explain something that the people from back then can experience so they can understand. You can say, well, it's similar to a bird, right? You can say everything that it is where they can understand. There's really no other way to explain what a plane is besides to say that it's similar to a bird. Say if you try to say, yes, it has engines on it, and these engines blow out, they run off of, fuel and stuff. They're going to be like, wait, what is going to go in one ear and out the other? They're not going to know what you're speaking about, right? So when you're explaining something to someone that never experienced the thing that you experienced, you have to explain it to them in a way of something. You have to pick an area where something that's familiar to them. So explaining the Holy Ghost would be my example, would be it's similar to if like you do not, it's similar to if you ever went on anesthesia, right? If you ever went on anesthesia and once it goes in you, it's like you don't remember anything. And then right before you wake up, you are having maybe some small memories and maybe you can hear a little bit of something and maybe your eyes start to open up a little bit. But then that's about it. Then you just wake up. But about 2 hours passed, right? So, but then it's like, okay, you went on anesthesia, you were fully unconscious, but you weren't dead. You didn't have any dreams, right? I've been on anesthesia twice in my life. I had no dreams. Most people that I asked that have been on anesthesia, they had no dreams. They had some subtle little memories and flashes of things right before they woke up. But when the anesthesia was fully in their blood, they experienced no dreams. It was just, you're out. So I use that example to explain to them when you receive the Holy Ghost, you are fully conscious, right? So it's not like a ghost coming in and taking control of your body, or you're hypnotized and you have no control of your body. You're fully conscious. It's not like you're on anesthesia, right? But you do not have any control of your voice. You do not have any control of certain movements that the spirit is controlling at that time, right? So for an example, myself, it was my voice and my legs was like jello. I had no control over my legs. I fell right to my knees. Had no control over that. So it was like I'm conscious, but I can't control my movements in my body. So that's me giving you some examples to explain what it's like. You know what I'm saying? The other thing is, it's nothing like you being possessed. When people think of someone being possessed, you think that, well, they are not conscious. The being that went into the entity that went into their body fully took over their body. And then after they're possessed, they wake up like, wow, what happened? It's not like that either. Once again, to explain, when receiving the Holy Ghost, I guess he went out. I'll bring you back up. Maybe you good?
Yeah. I was trying to play with my Wi-Fi. I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Again, and it's nothing like being possessed, because possessed is the normal concept of being possessed is you're not conscious at that time. But once again, when it comes to the Holy Ghost, fully conscious, fully aware, you just don't have any control over your tongue, right? Or any control over whatever the Spirit of the Holy Ghost is controlling as far as any other of your body parts. So that's a quick explanation. We can, what's another?
But how do you, why are you correlating this with a holy experience? I haven't heard anything that would like convince me or anybody that it's an experience that ties to God, or let's say somebody who, if you're trying to explain it to a non-believer, How
Yeah.
would you say
So
this is a divine
yeah. So
experience?
yep. Once again, I started at the point because I remember, and thank you for pointing that out. I didn't start with the beginning of the experience. I went to maybe the middle, like the physical part. I just explained the physical aspect of it. But to get into some of the mental aspect of the experience and how it came about is that one at the time when I experienced the Holy Ghost, I was praying to God, right, and fully aware of my situation and what I was praying to God about. And within my prayers, God actually answered my prayers. I had certain questions in regards to the Holy Ghost, and He answered my questions. And it was questions that I didn't even know I had questions too. But then I was like, oh wow, that confirms that. That checks that out the box. So it was like answering my prayers, I would say. So yeah, at the beginning moment, I'm praying to Jesus Christ, and then I received the Spirit of the Holy Ghost. And let's go into that process, right? So normally when people pray, let's go into the process of praying. So and the gift of that's why they call it a gift. The Holy Spirit is a gift. Not everyone receives the Holy Spirit. There'll be many people in my religious beliefs. There'll be many people that will make it to heaven, but they'll never experience the Holy Ghost. And then there'll be people that experience the Holy Ghost that won't even make it to heaven. So
Right.
that has nothing to do about if you get to heaven or if you go to hell or heaven, stuff like that. But anyways, within the experience, normally, have you ever prayed before or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And you have prayed. And real quick, you're an atheist. I don't.
I, I'm
What are
not.
you?
I'm not an atheist
What are you?
because what I told you was is God. We are all gods, and God is within the heart of men.
Okay.
And
Now
we're
I
gonna get
believe you.
into and we're gonna get into that because that's where I also have a little rebuttal from the clip I watched. All right. So
I
you labeled me as a secularist. That's what you labeled me as.
Okay, I remember you. I remember you said God is within all of us. Okay, I do remember you. Okay, well, where was I going with this? And have you ever prayed?
Yes.
Okay, and when you pray, what's your thinking process? Are you thinking logically when you're praying? Are you thinking emotionally? What's your normal process when you pray?
When I grew up a Catholic, so much so that I was actually even an altar boy. I went to Catholic school basically my entire youth. Up until I went to high school, I was even in a Catholic high school. I went to, up until I didn't go to college, but at my entire, yeah. So when I was praying, you know, I would go into a prayer externalizing my conversation or my energy into something outside of me, as if there was something outside of me. But I know what when you said you experienced the Holy Ghost, um, you were talking about how it was almost correlating it to when you were under anesthesia and whatnot. The whole thing is that when I pray, I meditate right now. And meditation is a form of praying also, but you sort of go into a hypnagogic state, almost like your body falls asleep, but you maintain awareness. You know what I'm saying? And at points from there, you will actually notice it almost feels like a sleep paralysis, and you don't have control of your body. But if you're not aware of the state that you're in, then you'll try to fight that, and you're just basically trying to move your body, but your body is asleep. You're just aware. So in that instance, I think that when you're talking about the fact that you prayed and you were talking and answer and asking questions and whatnot, you may have gotten into a hypnagogic state where you were aware, but your body fell asleep. Tell me what reason it wouldn't be that.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. So once again, this is you trying to make reason out of something that is not subordinate to logic or reason. And even with my explanations of me trying to explain it, I can only explain it in a logical way. So when it comes to the spiritual world, when it comes
I'm
to
sorry
if
to
there's
sorry to cut you off, but how was what I just said? How was that not logical? because I'm
No,
explaining it in a scientific way.
I didn't say that it wasn't logical. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay. All right. So again,
So here's what I'm saying, right? When it comes to the spiritual realm, that's much different than the physical realm. The physical realm, we have measuring systems like time, different things we can measure. We feel things. It's much differently than the spiritual realm. The physical realm, we operate, must we must be subordinate to logic and reason in order for us to have any coherent, community
understanding.
around, understanding of amongst one another. We must operate with using logic and reason. When it comes to the spiritual realm, logic, there's no measurements to measure things with logic and reason. So we can, me, myself, and you, we can only do our best to describe logically what something would be like that is not bound by logic and reason. Makes sense?
So let me ask you this: Do you is this experience you had then? Is it a universal experience, or is everybody's experience going to be different, and they can correlate it as the Holy Ghost?
So, good question. Some people's experiences will be different, meaning the differences of their experiences is just going to be them speaking in tongues. Well, some people are, speaking in tongues and saying many words, saying different words. Some people experience, they have a different physical experience. Say that. They have a different physical experience. The spiritual aspect of it and how it comes about, I can't speak for everyone and say it's the same, but I would say, speaking about it logically, if you're receiving something, it's like if the quarterback is throwing something to the receiver. There's many different ways the receiver can catch the ball, right? Many different ways the receiver can catch the ball. But the quarterback is still throwing it. It's still going in the air. It's still going in that direction in the air, whether if it's a sidewinder, whether if it's a, something far, something deep, whether if it's up the middle, it's still that same going through the air, the same pattern. The pigskin is still spinning, right? So the receiver can catch it receive it different ways, but it's coming from the same source. Always going to come from the same source. One quarterback throwing a ball to many different receivers, right? So that's an analogy that I can use right there. Well, it can be different physically, but spiritually, it's like the same. That's my logical way of explaining it. But let me ask you a question. So when you're praying, do you ever cry?
No.
Okay. When you're praying, are you in a logical state of mind?
No.
Okay. What state of mind are you in when you're praying?
I'm not in any mind. I don't put my mind into it. If I have my mind into it, I feel like I'm sort of distracted. I sort of zone out, and that's how I was able to have my own experience, which we could get into in a second. But I don't want to veer off the topic because I want to ask you what you're explaining to me as your experience with the Holy Ghost. Is that categorized and going into the area of being called an anecdotal experience?
Yeah, it would be an anecdotal experience. I've also I also talk amongst peers that experience the Holy Ghost as well. And we all came to the conclusion that it came from the same quarterback. We just received it differently. You know what I'm saying? It was the physical aspect was differently. But real quick, we got Judge Me Not sent in $2. May I get your opinion on a 4-minute vid before you close? Yeah, Judge Me Not. Go ahead and send it to No Fugazee podcast on Instagram. Send it there, and I'll go ahead and I'll get to it before we close. But we're not closing anytime soon anyway, so you're good. No worries. Okay, so where else do you want to go with this besides just the Holy
Well, I'm
Ghost?
going to finish off on that because I'm going to move into that. Well, yeah, I get it. But the reason I say, and I want to close it off with the anecdotal claim is because we can only base it on faith, not a fact. It can only just be a theory because if it's your anecdotal experience, it's just going to fall on you're going to be on it's my truth claim. You know how you talk about people say, no, it's my truth, it's my truth. That's your truth. And I can respect that. I believe you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I don't believe you. But
Yeah.
my point is, there was a guy that you did kind of go hard on because he gave you his experience and you say he never received the Holy Ghost. And I wanted to know what the difference between his experience to yours was. Uh,
Guy.
and why yours was divine, but his wouldn't be divine. You get what I'm trying to say?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. What guy?
Was that? I don't know. I some fucking guy that was on there that explained it to you a certain way. I guess you didn't like it, and you kind of went down on him. He told him he was an idiot. I guess it's on the
Well,
same
well,
live, and it doesn't
well,
matter anyway. That it's a theory though, right? It's a belief.
well, no, it's not a belief. It's a knowing. It's much different than a belief. A
From my
belief,
perspective about you, it's a belief. From my perspective of my
fair enough.
experience, is a
Fair
knowing.
enough.
So that's why we talked about the area of objective and subjective truth. Remember?
Yeah, yeah, that's totally fine. When we're speaking about things like this that cannot be measured and spoke about, and not it could be spoke about logically, but it can't be proven logically, then it's gonna go into the world where I never experienced it. You never experienced it. I'm the one that experienced it, so it's subjective to me. So yeah, it
Yeah.
does go into that category. That's the thing when it comes to religion and spirituality and stuff like that.
And and
It gets
and
more of
what
in the subjective field.
and what about the existence of Jesus though? Like we talked
What
about
about
that.
that?
Well, because I asked you if Jesus was a full human, if he was fully man, right?
Uh huh.
And he had some type of special powers. Where did he get all these special powers from? And why is it that we can acquire those special powers?
Okay. So where did Jesus get his special powers from? Well, one, is Jesus really a man? Two, where did Jesus get these special powers from? And
Right.
why can't we acquire these special powers?
Correct.
Okay.
Why do we
So,
need to worship Jesus?
okay, cool. So then that's a fourth claim. All right, we'll try to tackle all of these. If I forget, just remind me because I
I'll
did not
remind you.
write it down. Okay. Let's start with the third one besides the fourth one, because then we can work our way down. With the third one, why can't we access these powers? Well, we have stories and biblical stories that shows that people did access these powers via through God, right? So Moses is one that accessed these powers, and a few others that access these powers, like Samson. So there's people that through the Holy Spirit of God did access these powers. Now, you'll say, well, we don't know if these biblical stories is true. And, from your understanding, we would say that it's a belief, right? I would say that I believe that these stories would be true. Do I have any facts to prove this? No, it's a belief, right? It's a belief. With that being said, do I have any, can the Bible does the Bible hold any validity as far as being one of the oldest, formulated texts that's out there? Yeah, it holds a lot of validity. It has a lot of meaning. Many people took many things from the Bible. It's filled with a lot of knowledge. A lot of these Western countries was built off of biblical principles when it came to Numbers and Deuteronomy. If you ever read those chapters, those books in the Bible, where they speak about the hierarchy and building that system of hierarchy. So yeah, a lot of people took things from the Bible and it seemed to work out pretty good for them. Does that mean that the stories, do we have proof that those old stories like Noah's Ark and what Moses did is 100% true? No, that doesn't mean that we have any proof of that. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and land my plane there on that one. Any pushback on that? I think all you'll say is that, well, that's just your belief of believing in Moses, right?
Yeah, it is a belief.
It's just a belief. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing isn't really a debate. It's just me pushing forth. As far as this topic, it's just me pushing forth these claims in regards to the Bible, because you believe in something different. You believe that we are all gods. You don't believe in
Right.
just one one God. So, and
Well,
that's
in actuality, I mean, this could get pretty long-winded, but we are actually all one. But we could save that for another time because I just want to dissect what it is that we spoke about before. So, what about Jesus' powers? Where did he get them, and how is it that? Why is it that we can't acquire them? Why do we need to worship a man named Jesus?
yeah. So I'll say this, man. If like, I can go ahead and give an explanation, but if you don't care to believe it or care to wish to even engage in it, then
No.
you know.
Listen.
So
I care. It's just that I don't care what you believe in and don't believe in. I'm doing this for the interest of the debate. You get what I'm saying?
it
I
isn't really
don't
a debate.
necessarily have to believe it, but I want to dissect what it because when I watch you speak, you
I'll
come
just
from the
make my
listen. I'm gonna finish.
sure.
You always come from the concept of good and bad, and I need to
Yeah.
know why you're in the seat of good and where that fundamentally comes from, or are you just following something blindly without knowing? Or you know what I'm saying? Like that's where I'm just trying to dissect it
Okay.
from because
I
you
got
come
it.
from
So
good. Like last night on the Raging Tomato, you basically virtue signal and say this is good, this is bad. So I mean, what is good and bad? Why would you be the one? Are you God? You know what I'm saying? Like
okay.
what
Got
is
it.
good, what is bad in actuality. But I want to dissect it, and there's other things I want to talk about. I won't
Sure.
be
Sure.
too long over here either.
No, that's totally fine, man. So now you're speaking about, moral ethic systems, right? So you want to know which moral ethic system do I appeal to? And my moral ethic system that I appeal to would be Christianity. So when I was having a debate last night, the reason why I'm asking them, they're saying that my definition of harm would be that it's immoral, right? Because I appeal to biblical teachings, Christianity, things that are good, things that are right, wrong, things that are good, things that are bad. And that's based off of God said this bad, this is bad. It's very simple. God said this good, this is good. Very simple, right? So when it came to me debating those two individuals, they are secularists. They are feminists. They don't believe in God. When I asked them to explain, to describe what they perceive to be harm, they ran from the question. They's like, well, what's harmful if most people experience something that's so they appeal to utilitarianism, right? So when they appeal to utilitarianism, it's a part of like consequentialism, which is utilitarianism is they're looking at things that's going to be a bad or good outcome for consequences, right? Which is going to have a bad outcome of consequences or a good outcome of consequences. And normally is based off of experience and just data, right? So it's experience and data. So when you peel the layer back to things, if you peel if they didn't really engage, so I really couldn't debate with them. But if I would just pick them apart and keep asking them questions, and if they answered, it would peel the layer back all the way to their preferences. So what they perceive to be good is based off of their own preferences. Well, I believe that this is good because that's what I believe. I believe this is bad because that's what I believe. The moral ethics system that I appeal to is not selfish, is not my own preferences. I appeal to Christian ethics, which is what God says that's good and what God says what is bad. And this is a book that pretty much stood the test of time, but it's just not the book. It's Christianity, which Christianity is the one that created the book. And that's what we follow is the book. Well, we follow Christianity, but the book came from Christianity. So I'll land my plane there. My moral ethics system is Christianity.
Got it.
Yeah.
Do you believe? Yeah, this is good. Good.
What's your real quick question for you though? What is your moral ethics system if you do not believe in God, like Christianity? What do
It
you
comes
appeal to?
from the term is called Christ consciousness. So when I talked about it the last debate we had, where I said that when they speak on do unto others as you will want done unto you, does that come from the heart or does that come from fear? When somebody says I do unto others and they come across this religious doctrine, they'll treat others nicely only because they were told that if they don't treat others nicely, they'll go to hell. So it's fake. It's not real. It's the same way when you do unto others or treat your neighbor as you would yourself. The reason that's saying is because that person is a version or a reflection of yourself. When I spoke on vibration frequency about how your vibe attracts your tribe and all that kind of shit, everybody that you come across in life is somehow a mirror of you. They're showing you something. That's where my framework and my mentality comes in. Christ consciousness is basically, I had this experience where you would consider the Holy Ghost. I had my metaphysical experiences where I saw things on a quantum level. You get what I'm saying? I
Yeah, you
literally
think
felt,
Christ
listen,
consciousness.
I'm gonna finish.
Okay,
But
go ahead.
listen,
Yeah,
I'm gonna land my plane right now.
sure. Go
The
ahead, man.
same way when you asked me what happens after you die, and I told you that I am everything. You get what I'm saying? And this is why I came to that conclusion, because it was more or less like I almost felt like I was the environment, almost like instead of being a drop out of the water, I was the entire water. It's hard to even put into words, but you laughed at that. You get what I'm saying? But that's where I was experiencing it, even to the point where I was like a clam in the water at one point. And then and this all happened before I woke up in the physical realm in my body. But there was just different. That's not even it. There was many, many different other experiences. And again, I grew up Catholic. It's just that, there came a point in time where awareness kicked in. So I'll give you an example. You told me your definition of God is, well, tell me what your definition of God so I don't strawman you, sir.
All right. You don't remember it, man? It's a good one. So yeah,
It is. You said outside of space and time. Am I right or wrong?
so the God that I believe in is all good,
It,
all good, all good,
mhm.
all good, and all love. Right? That's how
Okay.
I would characterize God. All good and nothing but good, nothing but love. And God is not bound by time, space, and matter. The evil that you see in this world is human beings' choices. Human beings chose by their own free will. They chose to remove themselves away from God. And as you get further from God, that's when evil and bad things happen. That's where suffering happens. The further you get away from God, suffering happens. The
Got it.
closer you get to God, the more you can go
See,
experience a good
I,
life.
I, I, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing, though. You said God is outside of space and time. God is not bound by time or anything like that. What is the difference between that and just my imagination?
Okay.
My
You said what?
my imagination can take me anywhere and give me anything I want in real time in the now moment, all very lucidly if you know how to use your mind's eye.
Yeah. I'll tell you the difference. Your imagination cannot predict the future. If it could, you would be rich because you'll win the lottery. So once again, your imagination is bound by
Well,
time.
I also asked you if we
It's
create our
bound by
reality.
space and matter.
Well, but you said that no. I agree. The body is, but you also said that we create our reality. The last time I asked you, you said we create our reality. So in
What
order
do you
for me
mean
to
by that? I
create
hope
my
that
reality, I don't know. You answered my question the last time I asked you. Do we create our reality? You said we do. We don't create our own reality, or does life just happen to you, or do you do things to make things happen?
Okay, you asked, do we create our own reality? I mean,
Yeah.
in a sense, you can say that by the choices that we make, it will shape our reality to a sense. But even if there's choices that we didn't make that already was shaping our reality, just
Correct.
by when we're
Correct.
here, right? So
100%.
it all depends on how you're speaking about the
No, you
reality.
actually said it. You said it perfectly because creation's already created. So you can only mold and shape your circumstances based on your decisions, bro. But that comes down to an awareness. You ever heard somebody say, "When you know better, you just do better"? So that awareness is indoctrinated, or is it fun?
No,
Because you know
that
what?
isn't true.
Listen. Let me finish. So
Go,
when
sure,
you
go ahead.
said all good is love, all good is peace, all good is harmony. That means you're conducive to the lifestyle that you're living in. If not, you would get treated like an animal, right? Your body's an animal. You control your urges, you control all that because the body is the animal. If you cater to your animalistic natures, you may do things that aren't conducive to society, and you may get locked up in jail and treated like an animal. You get told when to eat, you get put in the, told when to come out, when to go to bed, when to wake up, all that fly stuff because you were not conducive to society. So that's a area where somebody did something bad, but that bad is only because they're disconnected from themselves. So they were animalistic and actually treated their neighbor in a heinous way because they did not know anything about self. See, this all starts from when you're a child. When you talk about you're influenced by your environment, I totally agree with that. But the whole thing is that if you only stay bound by the influences of your environment, how do you know if it's conducive or not? You have to be aware. And when you become aware of it, you change your thinking. And then all of a sudden now you change your reality. That's where I talk about when it comes down to masculine energy. You're aware of your individuality. You're the one. You're not a sheep and you're not somebody following. The woman is led by the man. Humanity, when they're not aware and they don't stand out, they try to fit in, that's when they're trying to be part of feminine energy. They're just going with the crowd. You get what I'm saying? So when it comes to religion, you're saying that Jesus Christ was a man and you worship Jesus Christ. I just want to know in what kind of way that is not a feminine act from you to follow in another man's footsteps, regardless of his powers or whatnot. I could say, hey, Cooley, man, you're really good at podcasting, man. I'm going to start worshiping you. No, I'm going to just look at you just like another man. And I could do what you could do if I put my mind to it and apply it myself in my life. But I would have to have faith in myself to actually start a podcast or do something that would actually get me to where I want to be. That's thinking and applying yourself to a reality. And that's having faith in yourself. But what is that? You use the mind, you started to think. And then what happens is that faith without works is dead. So I could think about what I want to do. And then all of a sudden, if I don't apply it, then all of a sudden it just goes basically into thin air. It never happened.
Got you. Listen, we're going to have to do this a little bit differently. Instead of going on monologues, you're asking me questions and you're asking me to explain certain of my, my beliefs and these certain concepts that I believe in. So I'm going on monologues, but you go on monologues, you make claims, but then you ask questions. You ask 2 questions and you made claims. And it's it was a whole lot. So
I got it.
One down.
It's all good.
So, yeah, let's just make it clean and concise for the audience. Yeah, so the audience can track where things are going. You said a lot there. There's a lot of things that I had pushback for, but I just wanted you to get it out because I was speaking as well.
Sure.
Okay, cool. But for now on, let's, if I interrupt you or if I cut you off, that's because I just have a question on the thing that you're saying right then and there, or I'm trying to answer one of your questions right away so I don't forget it. All right. Okay, so I guess let's take it back a little bit because you said a lot there. First, let's just go with the part where you made a claim that if someone, the people that, follow the Bible, they're only following the principles of it. Like God gives these directions, hey, do this, don't do that. And they're just acting on it. But how do you know if it's genuine if they're just they're doing these do's and doing these don'ts? They're doing these do's and not doing these don'ts because they can get to heaven. How do you know that it's really genuine? Well, the Bible has many scriptures where it says that he judges not just by someone's actions, but he judges by the heart. He judges people by their spirit, right? So he judges people on their true intentions. So yeah, you could go ahead and do some good acts. That's just like if you're an atheist, but an atheist lives a moral life and they, live this good life. They don't do anything bad. They give to their neighbor. They help out.
But it's all ego, isn't it?
They do all of the thing is they do all of these things. Well,
because it makes them feel good.
Well, yeah, that could be it. If they're doing these things, who are they doing these things for? Are they doing these things for themselves, which can be ego? Like, where's the intention going? And God wants the intent to go to him. So therefore, we know that it's not ego. It's not prideful. One of the worst sins in the Bible is pride, right? And what is pride? Pride is doing things for your own self-interest. That's prideful. So that's a sin. Well, obviously, if you're just doing these things and you don't, because you're doing it because you don't want to go to hell, you're most likely going to go to hell. So I just want to correct that, but I think that maybe we're on the same page. The other thing that you said, if you know better, you do better. So you said that as people and individuals, we must increase our awareness. We must be more perspicacious and be more aware individuals. So therefore, we know to do better, right? We know more, so then we will do better. It doesn't work like that from my moral ethics standpoint, and there's many scriptures in the Bible that points this out, that human beings, even when they know better, doesn't necessarily mean they do better. right? So just because there's many people that know not to kill, killing is bad, but they kill someone. There's many people that know not to steal, stealing is bad. They even know the consequences for their actions, but they still do it anyway. So that the entailment of that argument there, if you know something, you do better, is just not logically consistent to what we all observe. Now you
So
said a
Cooley,
lot of
wait. Before you move on, let me just make sure because
Sure, go
suppose
ahead.
that you were overweight, and you know that you're not supposed to be eating Cheetos, Dunkin' Donuts, and Popeyes. So now all of a sudden you cave in and eat those Dunkin' Donuts, Cheetos, and Popeyes. That's a knowing better, but you don't do better. How you say that they don't? You said that if they know better, that humans don't do better. Is that what you're talking about? Did I use
Well,
that example correctly?
no, you didn't use it correctly.
So where are you coming from when you say that?
I got you. I'll repeat it back. Your standpoint is this: is what your claim is. Your claim is you're saying if you know better, you do better. So your reasoning to back that up, because if you are aware of things more, you need to open up your awareness and be more perspicacious. And as you open up your awareness, you'll know better. So therefore, you'll do better. My standpoint is just saying that that's not always the case, because there's many people that know better. They know right from wrong, but they're just evil, bad people. They just want to do the wrong thing. So that doesn't mean that these people that's overweight and fat, like your example, of course they know if they put that third cheesesteak down, it would do better for their body. But guess what? They're disobedient to their own health. They don't care about that. They want to eat that. People do things for their own self-pleasure. You know what? Maybe that person killed that lady because they felt some pleasure in killing this old lady. Who knows why people do bad things? But I think that people do know that it is bad. I think that we all have this instinct of what's right and what's wrong. Like
Yeah, but I think that's too extreme. Like you're going to the extreme, like killing people. Like I just think that's a complete mental disorder. I'm talking about just simple, like knowing better, doing better, like little things that a Christian would consider a sin, but not really like a mortal sin like that.
So I don't think that that's the case. Now, yes, there are some people with mental illnesses that, all right, they were diagnosed with some mental illnesses. So the actions that these extreme actions is we can do a scan in their brain that sees that these chemicals isn't matching up and aligning. This is why they're acting very erratic and crazy. You know what I'm saying? Schizophrenic. So yeah, there's always going to be those cases. But I have my own brother. Let's say anecdotally, my own brother. He killed two people, I believe, or I believe it's about two now. And my brother knows better. You get what I'm saying? He knows better. I was raised with him, just a few years older than me. He knows better, right? And I love my brother. And that's the crazy thing, where you can still love someone even though when someone did something bad and evil, when they're close to your family. That's another weird experience about human nature, right? Someone can enact so much harm and evil on someone else, but if this person is your kin and you have this close bonded relationship, like a brother or a mother and a father and their son or daughter, it's like, you could kind of like love them despite the evil things that they do sometimes. And this is a display of God's love for us, right? It's so funny how God made us in his image, but we even have these same things within us, how God acts to us. God knows that there are evil. Jesus Christ knows that there are evil people out there that do bad things, but he still came here and offered up, sacrificed his life. And all he said is, hey, repent in the name of Jesus and follow me and you will make it to the promised land. So even though you did these crazy things, I know your heart, you can still change. And if you do change, and I see it in your heart, there's still a way for you. And that's just like me and my brother. It's like, dang, bro, I know you did evil, but you my bro, I love you. So let's get to, you asked me, when you went on that monologue, you asked me, I think it was two questions.
Yeah, it's right. So we talked about Jesus being fully man. He has all these powers. How come we can't acquire those. Was the purpose of us having to worship him? Can you answer that before we get to another one so we don't get confused?
Okay, Jesus. Oh, okay. I think that was one of the later questions. You said, why would you worship another man? Because you said that Jesus is a man. Why would you worship another man? A man worshiping another man, isn't that feminine? I think that was the crux of your real question.
Right.
Okay, I got you. So when you're saying that Jesus was a man, yes, Jesus in physical form had flesh, just like we all have. The physical form was man, right? The spiritual form of Jesus was God, right? So it's like, are we worshiping the flesh of God? No, we all know, like, even if you're in a relationship with a woman, right? And like, so just saying love, not worship. If we're speaking about love, another feeling, right? So even if you're loving your woman, a real man, if you're just loving her flesh, you're like being lustful. You're more like worshiping her flesh. You're more like, it's like, well, is it genuine? There's more to a woman than just the physical. It's her personality. It's the values that she holds. It's her character. It's many other aspects about why someone would love a woman. This is just an analogy to map it onto. There's other aspects that we are There's another aspect that we are worshiping in Jesus that is not the physical man. The physical man of Jesus, that died, but then it rose back, right? The spiritual side of Jesus, it never took any downfalls. It never bled. It never did any of that. So that's the part that we worship. But guess what? We are grateful for the physical. So we worship God, the Spirit of God, but we are grateful for Jesus Christ, the physical man of Jesus Christ, the physical body of Jesus Christ.
All right. So I'm going to give you my perspective and then you tell me if you have a rebuttal. Okay.
Okay.
So
you didn't have any. Oh, sure. Fair enough. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm gonna give you my perspective. It's not. I don't go. I mean, I respect what you believe in, but I'm gonna give you my perspective.
Sure.
It's not. It doesn't go with yours. That's the debate.
Totally
So
good. Yep.
this body that we're inhabiting is the body of Christ. Okay. You said this is the flesh. We don't fall in love with the flesh. God would be the metaphysical aspect of the whole thing. Okay. And this is where the whole you overcome humanity and you're born again of the Father. That's you becoming the masculine. Because if you're still in flesh and you believe you are the flesh, then you're in feminine energy. So you following the image of a Christ figure of another man outside of you is an idea. Just like you're an idea, we're all ideas. You hear what I'm saying? When you look at your mind, I'm gonna finish.
Yeah, but real
Damn,
quick, once again, we could have a back and forth. This is the part where I would.
I know, but then I'll forget because I just gotta go into a flow. Let me just. Can you write it down? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'll make it real quick though. Just quick correction. No one is following that part. We are following the Spirit of God, not not the flesh. Like no one's
Well, the
following.
Spirit. Well, we had this in the first debate. The Spirit is the outside projection. You're a projector and you're projecting your reality. That's the Spirit. That's why even when Christmas happens, supposing you hate Christmas, people say, man, get into the spirit of Christmas. What spirit are you getting into? You get into all of these spiritual natures outside of you. So I get into nature. I'm going into a spiritual nature. I can go into like even let's say if I wanted to be a Satanist, I'm getting into the nature and spirit of Satanism. You get what I'm saying? Everything outside of spirit, you have the soul. The soul would be like your individual spirit. That's how I look at it. The awareness is God.
I look at it much differently, but go ahead.
Right. But that's why I'm trying to tell you what my position is because it doesn't go in line with what you said, but then we'll talk about it. So Christ was a healer. The body is the body of Christ. So when you're sick, or let's say supposing you get a cut in your arm, you don't do nothing. The body heals on its own. So everything heals. Your body heals as long as you have the right energy and your conducive chemistry. And that's why it's important to take care of your temple because this is Christ, but God is channeling through you. You know what I'm saying? That's why I look at the body as the body of Christ. The awareness is God. That's the metaphysical state. You can look at this from your mind. You have a conscious mind and you have a subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is actually the feminine part of your mind. The conscious mind is masculine. Your whole life is governed by your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind can't take anything literal. It can only see things in symbols. That's why when you're growing up, the Jesuits said, give me a child from 1 to 7 and I'll show you who the man is, because the children are basically part of what we would call feminine nature, because they're just receiving, they're absorbing their environment. Feminine receives, masculine gives. You could even see that when we're having sex. Okay. The same way the children are getting programmed as they're getting older. When they're 7, they start to develop an individual nature. They start to develop an ego, their individuality. And this is why I feel like when they go to school, they're supposed to go to school like they call it the elementary school, where your body, they say man comes from the soil, he dies, he goes back to the soil. Your body is a product of nature, right? This is literally a feminine nature. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? But your awareness, let me finish. I'm gonna be done. I'm not gonna go long with, bro. As much time as you have, I'm gonna try to equate it so that I don't go longer than you do. But the awareness is what I'm talking about. You're aware of your individual spirit, your individual soul. You know what I'm saying? And that can only happen when you disconnect from the outside world. The thing is that we got all these things bombarding us and we associate with all these things and we think we are those things. We have idea, we associate with them, even movements. We have people going red pill, people going here, people go like they actually associate with that. And then me and you debate, right? I have an idea of what you are. You have an idea of what I am. You're trying to kill me and my idea. Well, you're not literally killing my flesh, but you're killing the idea of what I represent and stand for in a debate. That's like modern warfare. Back in the day, we used to do it physically, where they would be like swords and knives and all that.
Yep.
Now
Yep.
it's
I
like
get it, man.
war of words.
I
You know
get
what I'm
it.
saying?
Yep.
So that's why. Again,
Yeah, no,
so it's why I don't go too long, and I'll go with more things in there because I could see the thing is there's a lot to cover, but I'll just cut it there, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
yeah, and now I fully remember when I debated you last time. Once again, let's try to not do any monologues because the audience is not favorable to monologues, right? So no more monologues. We can ask each other questions and let's get down to the root of things so we can
I went
fully
too long
debate
though.
the world of view.
Did I go too long though?
So remember, you asked me a question, and then
Yeah,
I answered your question because I had to explain something. I thought that you would just have a rebuttal to say, well, this and
that
this.
was a rebuttal though.
Yeah, I mean,
It
not to
was it was my perspective.
say it
Me
was
rebuttaling would be like dismantling what I think you believe.
too
That's why I
bad.
said in the debate, I don't really
Too
care what
bad.
you believe. I'm here to debate what you believe in, and I'm going to tell you what I believe in. And if you
Yeah,
have a rebuttal toward it, because I'm the one challenging you, so
yeah,
then
but
this way you're
yeah,
supposed to actually come out
I
with a
gotta be
rebuttal to what
pay
I'm
attention
claiming.
real quick.
Ed,
That isn't how I'm formulating this debate here, this conversation, because it isn't even a debate, truthfully, right now. So, I'll go ahead and make it a debate now, right? So, you believe that you are God. Do I have that correct?
yes,
Yes or no? Got it.
yes.
So, what do
Now,
you?
wait. My definition of God is not your definition of God. Let's just make that clear. I already told you that
My
God is the
definition.
authority, the awareness. You said it's
Okay.
outside of space and time.
Yep. So my definition of God is not bound by time, space, or matter. Your definition of God is the authority and the awareness.
Yes, of
Okay.
oneself.
Of oneself. So
Hmm.
God is within you.
Yes,
Okay.
and God
So
is asleep. You have to awaken that God within you. That's
okay.
awareness. That's
You have to
self
awaken.
actualization. Right,
Got it.
self
You have to
actualization,
self. Yep. You got to
self
awaken this
realization.
God. Self
Right.
realization. You got to welcome. You
Mhm.
got to open this God within you. My question for you: that's basically you believe that you are God because you have to awaken something in you. Like some people have to awaken bravery in them. Some people have to awaken, certain aspects within themselves to push forward. So, okay, this would all come from self. So if how do you truly know what you are doing? How do you truly know right from wrong if you only appeal to self? You don't
How
appeal
do
to
I
anything else outside of self.
see? Because when I see, I told you the last debate, I don't follow scriptures or anything like that, but I told you there's sort of blueprints. And when I told you Christ consciousness is that book is talking about you, it's not talking about an external God. So the
Well,
whole thing is that I have an
that's the way you
listen,
interpret it.
right, but
That's
I
your
have an
interpretation.
awareness of what it's saying is innately in me. That's the whole thing. Because when I look at
But you're just
the Bible, I
granting
look
this.
at the
But you're granting this to yourself. You're just granting this. You're saying, well, yeah, I believe that I have this awareness. It's a belief again. It's a belief again. Yeah, I have this awareness in me and God is within me. I appeal to the things that's already within me. I would say that the only thing that you're appealing to, what if, let's just say not just you, but if other people have the same belief, right? And we would just say, you're just appealing to your own preferences.
But you don't do that?
How you get your understanding of right and wrong. I don't appeal to my own preferences of right and wrong. There's things that I really want to do, right? That I would get pleasure out of doing it. A lot of pleasure out of doing it, right? But guess what?
That's called suppression.
Well, guess what? I don't do these things because I appeal to something that's outside of myself. I don't appeal to the things that's inside of myself.
So what would you like to do that you don't do, that you can't do?
Here's my question, though. You never answer my question. Mm-hmm. How do you truly know right from wrong if you're just appealing to yourself to understand your morals? Aren't you just appealing to your own preferences? So
no, it's just
you are the arbitrator of right and wrong?
Yes, well, yeah. I mean, yeah. If anything, I know it's a knowing. It's not a belief. It's a knowing. You know what's crazy? You have like an internal GPS to not, let's go extreme. So not even sleep with your mother, right? I mean, not sleep with your sister. It's just, and if it happens, it's a mental disorder. You can see the things that don't correlate with harmony or conducive to reproduction in nature. Such as like homosexuality and all that fly stuff.
Let me ask you a question. If that's the case, then why is there incest? Why is there some people that think that it's right for them to sleep with their sister? Why is it some people that think that it's right? They're a man and they think that it's right and good to sleep with another man.
Well, it's wrong. Yeah.
They can appeal to your same moral ethics system by saying that I am God. I am the arbiter of what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's bad.
Okay, we're in a realm of polarities, yes or no?
What do you say?
Are we in a realm? Are we in a reality of polarity, or is it singularity?
It's
polarity.
It's polarity.
There's good and bad, right? So how would you know what good is if there was no bad to contrast it against?
How do you? Well, that doesn't make any sense. So that's a fallacy. How do you know?
How would you know what heaven is if there was no hell to contrast it against?
No, that's once again, that's a fallacy, because you're saying, how do I know what something is if I have nothing to contrast it with?
Could you have light without darkness?
Well, let me finish. That's much different. Because we're speaking about good and bad. Good and bad is how people perceive good and bad. Is their perception of what's good and bad, right? So you can perceive something. There's people that perceive their entire life as being bad, and there's a lot of good things that happen to them, because that's how they perceive it. These people that are suffering from mental depression isn't a disease. You can't, a scientist can't point out and look in your brain, well, you're suffering from some depression here. No, it can't be scientifically proven that you have depression. Not at all. It's like, oh, you're going through some mental states and you're looking at everything so negative, but there's so much good stuff happening to you. No, that's the problem with perception. People perceive things that is bad, even though sometimes it's good, or that is good, even though sometimes it is bad. So that just refutes your point.
So why I say dark or light, they say Jesus is the light, Satan is the darkness. But here's the thing, though. The reason I say this is because some people get lost.
Go ahead.
Some people get lost in the light, like they're actually blinded by the light, and some people could take guidance from the light. The same way in darkness, you can find yourself, or you could stay in darkness and just be lost forever. I mean, it's just perspective. So that's why I say when it comes to being good or bad, it's just a perspective, like you just said. So that's why I said, how would you know what one is without the other? That's how I explain how you would contrast one thing to the other.
Okay, cool. So here's a question for you. So if someone took on your moral ethic beliefs, they believe, just like you explained, that God is the authority and God is awareness, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
God is authority, God is awareness. They believe that they themselves are God. Literally, it's a copy and paste, right? The things that you believe in, they believe in, they have your same, they share your same moral ethic beliefs. But, right, they go ahead and uh, they sleep with their sister, right? How can you tell that other person that they are wrong because they can just say, well, in my moral ethic beliefs, I believe that God is within me. God is within me. And the God within me is saying that sleeping with my sister is morally good. What can you do? Where can you point them to that's outside of themselves to let them know that what they are doing is wrong?
Well, why do I need to do anything? Answer that question, bro. Don't get annoyed, bro. You gotta answer the question, bro.
But once again, you did not answer my question. You asked me
I just
another
answered
question.
you. Here's my. I don't need to do anything. That's my question. Why do I need to do anything?
Cool. Well, you're saying
I am not. I
your
am not their
answer.
God. I am not their God. I don't need to do anything.
Okay,
Now I'm asking you. Why would I need to do anything?
got it. Okay,
Right.
so your answer to me is you won't do anything. You won't say
Mm-hmm.
anything. You would.
No.
And now your question is, why would I do anything? Okay.
Right.
So in order to have a good community, you would say that this community needs to have some shared values,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Right.
in order for this community to thrive, they need to share some good values, right? So if there's people in the community that believe in incest or believe in LGBTQ plus, well, in your moral system and your moral ethics, that wouldn't apply to yours, but it does apply to theirs. So when you raise your kids and you have kids, your kids will be raised in a community where there's a lot of immorality going on that does not appeal to your moral system. And guess what? You don't have any rejections because you can't say, hey, you can't appeal to anything else outside of yourself. You can only tell them, hey, appeal to the things that's inside of you. And they say, well, yeah, the things that inside of me, it's good. It's morally good. The thing within my ethical system, it's not selfishness. It's not anything that's within inside. We have a whole system of belief that's 2,000 years old that's backed up with many texts that we appeal to. So we do not appeal to the things that's within ourselves. We appeal to the things that's outside of self, outside of our own self-interest. We appeal to the things that's outside of our own self-pleasures and things like that. You get what I'm saying? So for me, if someone was doing a degenerate act, I would say, hey, we have a scripture here that says that this isn't right. God doesn't want you to commit adultery. God doesn't want you to kill people. God doesn't want you to sin. You get what I'm saying? And we could specifically point it out and say, this is bad, this is good. Your moral system can't do that.
Right. Who wrote that scripture?
It was
Man. Right. Man.
It was written by
Man is corrupt. Man is corrupt.
Written by many books, and within the Bible, are there the morality that's in the Bible that the Bible displays? Let me say it this way. The morality that the Bible talks about and displays in the scriptures, do you believe that morality to be good?
The way it's portrayed for harmony, it is. Let me give you an example, bro. You said something pretty good before.
Okay.
You said you have a soft voice, but you have a strong presence, right? So in other words, when somebody wants to say,
People
well,
take
can I,
literal.
no, but listen, bro, I don't care if it's literal or not. I'm trying to make an example out of it.
Sure, go ahead.
Because suppose that your voice was intimidating because it was very deep, right? Or let's say right now you didn't equate that to like a strong presence. You only equated it to your just physical presence. So you don't think that if you change, the world changes? It's all like just happening energetically. It doesn't have to involve so much work outside of you to actually acquire that, because that would be so much work to try to change the whole world. Do you think that the entire world would just become the one world order of Christianity?
Okay, so now you're speaking about
Or do you think or do you think that you'll just land in a place based on your energetic frequency? Because obviously, the people you hang out with is the people you smell like. You get what I'm saying? So I don't hang out with bums, and I live in a good community, for example. And I pretty much I hang out with very successful people. I mean, you could check my Instagram out. But my whole thing here is that it's based on my energetic frequency. My mind determines who I hang out with. Who am I resonating with? If somebody has like a weak ass stupid consciousness, I'm really not gonna fucking last too long as their friend, bro.
Okay, so I mean, right
We
now
wouldn't have anything in common.
Okay, got it. So right now you're speaking about influence, and we can get to influence in a second, but I want you to answer my question, man.
All right, what was it? What is it exactly? And I'll answer it exactly.
Yeah. So the thing is, if we're comparing both of our moral ethic systems, I appeal to Christianity. You appeal to God is within me. I am God. That's what you appeal to. My question is very, very simple, right? The one question you did answer, you said that, well, if someone is acting degenerate and they're doing immoral things that isn't aligned with your moral system, but within their own moral system because they believe that they are God, well, how can you create a course of correction and help out your community? Because you do want to help out your community. Then you went over to influence. You said that, well, do you think that actually, physically doing something and trying to control or saying something to someone is the
Cooley,
only...
you know why I lose you? Just ask the question. I lose you because you go very long-winded sometimes. Okay, ask the question. I want to answer it directly.
Got it. I mean, you said I'm going long-winded. You were going long-winded. So
I just lost you a little bit. So I just want to answer the question because I don't want you to say that I didn't answer you.
Yeah, since you went long-winded, I'm just repeating back to where we was so I can get it back on track.
Right.
Honestly, that's all I'm doing. But I'll just go ahead and ask the question, right? So you just tried to obfuscate and speak about influence. Let's bring it. I can just refute that real quick. Let me refute the influence part. What you're saying is that, Cooley, there's is not the, you don't have to just you don't have to speak to someone and get them to change their behavior. You can just act good yourself, and the resonance of your goodness would be sticky and people would gravitate towards it and start acting like you. That's just one way of influence. So a quick way to refute this is the fastest way to influence someone is not by one, you can be the best version of yourself. Great. You can maybe influence some of your peers and stuff like that. But think about it. Influence is a source. Influence creates thinking. Thinking creates behavior. So if you're not, we have 5 senses. If you're not hitting these senses to influence them, it isn't going to really work out the way you think it's going to work. Hearing, tasting, touching, seeing, and smelling. You can influence by appealing to their ears, by speaking to them and saying, hey, this is morally wrong and here's why it's wrong. Here's the consequences of your actions. Here's the damages and the harm that it will do. You can go ahead and say this to someone that can influence them. You're saying, well, that's not, what's more powerful is just being the best version of yourself, and people will see you and say, wow, he's doing good things. Let me go ahead and do good things too. Yeah, that's a way of doing something, but there's many different ways of influencing. So to refute that, I say that there's many other different ways to influence people by speaking to people as well. Now, let's get back to the question that I had, right? So do you really think that if outsiders was looking, not even outsiders, who do you think that would build a better society? Someone that operates and has my moral ethic beliefs, which we appeal to things that's outside of us to show people right from wrong and good and evil, or the community that only appeals to themselves, which is their preferences. I am God. Which system would be better?
The system that would appear to be better would be the one that but let me tell you why though, right? Because man doesn't know themselves. The Bible tells you, man, know thyself. In fact, it even tells you to be the light when you're
Bro, you're
thine eye be single,
appealing
your
to
body
my
filled with light.
system.
Well, no, I'm not, because
Biblical
that's just,
teachings.
I am not appealing to it, because how am I appealing to it? I just told you that it would appear that way because man doesn't know themselves. If man knew themselves, they would need to appeal to something that's programmed into them. It's just something appealing to them outside of themselves. They're never going to know themselves like that. It's just them appealing to something outside of themselves. This all starts with Jesus Christ. I already told you that you gave me the meaning of Jesus being a full man, and we're following in the footsteps of another man, but you never answered
I've never
how he
said
acquired his
I never
powers
said he's a full
and
man.
why we can't.
And I've already answered that question. And now you're trying to move the goalpost again. Let's stay on
all right,
topic.
but let's get back to it. We'll stay on the topic, but I want to, because you never answered how he acquired his powers and
I
why we
did
can't.
answer it. Yes, I did answer it. And I'll answer it again very, very, very quickly. Jesus Christ isn't a whole man, right?
So what is he?
It's God. The Spirit of God is in flesh form. That's what Jesus Christ is. The Spirit of God in flesh form. You get what I'm saying? So now let's go back to the topic at hand. It's very, very simple. That it's very, very funny, actually.
You are a spirit of God in flesh form too. You know that? You
Okay,
said the last time that when you die, you go back to
that's what you
spirit.
believe.
Didn't you say that? I asked you last time,
That's what you
what
believe.
happens when you die? And no, because I asked you, where do you go when you die? You said you become spirit again.
Yeah,
Didn't
so
you say
now
that?
you're moving the goalpost again. Let's stay on topic. Let's stay right here,
Oh,
man. Where we at?
did you say that? Yes or no? You said when
No,
we die, we
no,
become spirit again. Didn't you say that?
I didn't say exactly what you just said. I didn't say that, but
So
we
what
will
did you
get to
say?
that too. We'll get to that
All
too.
right,
But
go
real
ahead.
quick, let's stay on
Go ahead.
topic, right? So let's just get this clear. When I asked you this question, your reasoning, you said that, well, it would appear that your moral ethics system, which is Christianity, would appear to be doing better than my moral ethics system. And then the way your reasoning was taking a scripture out of my moral ethics system and then applying it to yours to try to disprove mine. You can't take from my moral ethics system to prove your own moral
All right,
ethics
can I
system.
explain it? Can I explain it? Can I explain it to you?
Sure, try it.
Okay, so it's the same way like when you tell a child, hey, don't do this, little Billy, because then you're not going to get gifts from Santa Claus. Now, little Billy follows those rules because he thinks that it's bad because his parents told him it's bad. So now he doesn't do those things because he says this is bad. But there's a certain level of maturity that when you get older, you'll have an understanding as to why that is. Now it's innately in you that you are the person that you are molded from the moment you were a child. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, it all starts, even in school, they teach you
I don't
everything
believe in that
inverted.
presupposition, though. I don't believe in
How?
what you just presupposed. I do not believe in, because once again, you're appealing to, if you know better, you do better. That's what you're appealing to. You're appealing to the system within your belief. If you know better, you do better. I do not believe that, and you don't believe it either, because you know people that know better and they still don't do better. There's people that know it's not good to kill, steal, and rape little girls, but they still do it. These people still do these things even when they
These
know
are,
better.
yeah,
So
these
why?
are the extremes, though.
No,
You're in the realm of mental disorder,
extremes.
though.
Stop it. No, extremes isn't. Extremes is important because it shows that your logical entailment isn't consistent in what you're is. It's a
It's a mental
contradiction.
disorder, though. Somebody's not mentally right, though,
You
when you're going extreme.
No, you say that it's a mental disorder. We just spoke about this. In my own anecdotal situation, my brother killed 2 people and he don't have no mental disorder, right? He knows better. He chooses not to do better. He a gangster, right? He don't care about good. He care about all the bad. That's what he care about. There's just people like that, right? So guess what? And your moral ethics system is just not better than mine, bro. So, I mean, you're not putting up any good arguments, man. So, I mean, where else do you want to move from here? Because let me see what else we got. Let me get to this one super chat real quick that came in.
Yeah.
We got Righteous Thought Christ sends in $5. Cooley, would you bring up Mueller of the Truth Cartel to dialogue with your guest? I think it would make for an interesting conversation. Yeah, I know Mueller. He's not in, but yeah, that's my guy. I'll definitely bring up Mueller. We got Madison K. Sims sends in $2. Dude just got some real demons. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Maybe you're talking about my brother or something like that. Or you're speaking about this guy. I'm not really sure. But yeah, man, people got some real demons. You know what I'm saying? It isn't about like if you know better, you do better. And I get what you're saying, because you're trying to use like reason to say, and you're using your own anecdotal experience as well to say, hey, the things that I didn't know, like, that's why I really wasn't doing better. But once I became more aware, I chose to do right, because it's a choice. Even when you know something, you still have the choice to then do better when you know something, or to do wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because we are human beings of free will. But listen, man, this was a good discussion. I like conversations like this. I think just like, I can't remember the conversation last time, but I think I've gave you lots of grace to talk about your worldview and your moral ethics system. And other than that, man, good conversation. And I don't mind having you back up at another time and sparring with you. I wish you well, brother, and all the success in all of your endeavors. Okay, man? But I'm going to let you go.
Appreciate it, man.
Get some more people
Yep.
up. Have a blessed
Sounds
one.
good, bro. Yeah,
Yep.
You too, bro. Thank you.
All right, chat. We do it live. No Fugazi podcast. Let's get the likes up.
No Fugazi.
Let's get the likes up. Get the likes up for me. Get the likes up. Get the likes up for me now. I just defeated this guy. Easy. Easy defeat. Easy defeat. Flawless victory. Jesus Christ, flawless victory. All the Christians out there, you should be good how I defended Jesus Christ so well today in this discussion, because it was superb. Superb. It was superb. It was great. It was great. But anyways, all right, cool. Let me go ahead and get to this clip. Before I get to the clips, if anyone has any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and send in your questions, comments, or concerns. Send in a super chat, send in some money, man. Keep the podcast going, man. I don't ask for, listen, even when you send in money, YouTube takes 30% of what you send in. So you know what? Let's go ahead and do this. Let's get some direct cash so it goes right into my account to support No Fugazi podcast. I don't know who's feeling. It's like this is church today. You know, guys, it's church. We going to bring out the offering. Hey, here's the offering. So here's the offering. And I don't normally do this. There's big channels, right? Guys that, and people that I respect in the space that have their PayPal and their Cash App posted. I'm not going to name these individuals, but they do it, but I never do it because it's like, there's just something with me about, I don't like need the money, but we're doing a podcast. I'm like not doing a girl show as often, only doing it maybe once a month, doing the reactions, doing debates, doing stuff with Marquette. So it's like, why not, take out that pot, that offering pot, and donate in, man. If you like what you're watching, how I just dismantled his arguments and his worldview with ease, support the podcast. So let me go ahead and get this up real quick, and we can go ahead and do this. Let's see here. I think I go here, I do believe. Or no. Nope, not that one. Here we go, right here. So let's go ahead and display this at the bottom, the Cash App. So if you do not want YouTube to take 30% of the money that you send in, you can just go ahead and send me a Cash App, $ Cooley D. Go ahead and Cash App me. And, you can go ahead and Cash App me even with your questions. So if you have a question, you can Cash App me. I'll see the question that you're asking or the statement that you're saying, and I'll read it out loud to the supporters. Or if you just want to donate money on YouTube and let YouTube take 30%, you could continue to do that. I'm not saying don't do that, but here's another way. If you want me to get all of the money that you're sending, send it in. The other crazy thing is if you have an iPhone and you're using YouTube, YouTube takes 30% of the money. But if you have an iPhone and you're sending in $10, let's say you send in $10, YouTube takes 30%, right? So that's already, we down to, okay, 70, I said $70. We're down to 30% of you losing your bread. I'm trying to get to the Apple percentage. Apple takes, if you have an Apple phone, it takes 80% or something like that of what you send. I think that's the figure. But if you have an Apple phone and you send them money, YouTube takes 30% and Apple takes like 80. It's like 70 or 80% of what Apple takes. 70 or 80% Apple takes if you are sending money. So really, when you send in this bread, it shows up that you sent in $20, $10, $2. But when I look at, my account from things, my YouTube account, bro, it'd be some cents, be change in there. It's not much. So we can avoid all of that if you just send money through Cash App right there. Let me go ahead and change the color of that too. I really don't like that color. Let's go ahead and change that to, yeah, let's make that black. Looks better black. It looks better black right there. Yeah, it just blends in much better. I need to put can I make that littler? Let's see. Probably can't change the dimensions of that. Okay, what about this? What is this? Oh, that's logo. Yeah, why would they put the logo there? Stupid. Logo there is trash too. We got a new logo coming up too for you guys as well, chat. Had someone create me a new one. But anyways, if you're tuning in right now, let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up. Like the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Don't be a ninja watcher, man. Do not be a ninja watcher. All right, let's go ahead and react to this Wes Huff. And it's like it's a good, y'all like this. If we got some Christians in here, some religious people, or even just some people that, you just like these biblical discussions and stuff like that. This conversation is interesting from Wes Huff. He was on the Flagrant podcast, and he was speaking about, Andrew Schultz was asking him some interesting questions on if people that do everything right, but they don't believe in Jesus Christ, can they still make it to heaven? And we're going to go through this and listen to some of Wes Huff answers to Andrew Schultz questions. So let's go ahead and bring this up. All right, and let's go.
Again and born from above. Yeah. It's the same term in the Greek. Yeah. And Nicodemus takes it as, I need to be born again. He's like, how can I do that? Shove me in the bag of my mom. It doesn't work like that. Yeah. And so, but there's something that goes beyond the carnal in the life of the believer. That's what being born again means, is that there's not an awakening in an Eastern way, but an understanding of the fact that Christ has reached into your life and he's revealed something that is beyond the simple facts.
Why? I guess my concern is God is all-knowing, all powerful. If you feel that change or transition in you,
you feeling a transition? Is that what's going on?
Yes. No. Like
every woman who makes herself male.
Yes. But you don't think God is aware that that's him?
What do you mean?
Like, you think that person on the island or the random person that grows up in Ohio or New York or Japan or anywhere that realizes that I'm going to live a better life.
Yes.
And I'm going to be a better person.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do all these things, which now we know through Scripture says will give you eternal salvation. And the one thing he doesn't say is, I know that Christ is reaching in me to do it. He feels like something is reaching in him to do it. Maybe he chalks it up to evolution. Maybe he chalks it up to his God, whatever it is. But you don't think God, the one God, is smart enough to go, I know who he's talking to. You think he needs up to say him by the one specific name, and then God goes, well, he said the name. Okay. To me, it seems belittling to God to assume that he's not capable of understanding all the languages that we speak to the highest power in.
Yeah.
So that's a good question that Andrew Schultz poses to Wesley Huff, because Andrew Schultz is saying, like, God is all knowing and all powerful. Like, does someone need to say that, hey, I believe in you, God? Well, yes, people do need to say that, and it's for good reasoning, because people could be acting good for their own self-interest. for their own ego. Well, when I do this, it makes me feel good. I get this natural response of feeling good by helping out other people. So this is the reason that I'm doing it. I'm doing it for pride, right? So people would be doing things for pride and chasing after their own self-interest instead of doing things because they love God. Right? It's much differently. It's like if we just flip it into relationship form. If you tell your woman to do something like, hey, listen, like say you get into a relationship with a woman and you're a masculine man and you're laying down that law like, hey, I like my food cooked at this time. Go ahead and do this woman, do that woman. And she does it. Her doing it is good, but the intent behind her doing it, is she just doing it because you told her to do it? That's good. She's being obedient in that sense. It would be better and more genuine and more loving if she cooked you that food, not because you told her, because she knows that you are hungry after long days of work and she want to make sure that you are good. She want to please you. That's her intent of doing it, not just doing it because you told her, which would be more genuine, right? You see what I'm saying here? Which one is more potent? So when Andrew Schultz is asking this question on, well, that's just like belittling God's intelligence. Like he knows that this person is doing these things and stuff like this, but what's their intent? If they're not doing it for Jesus Christ, they're doing it for their own self-interest, then I don't want nothing to do with that. Even a woman, like how do I know that when you're cooking me food and you're not doing it out of love and genuineness, that it's actually for me? You can be doing it as an escape, right? You could be doing this because it's like, oh, well, he's doing all of these things for me. Let me just do this, as ends meet, right? Let me just do this so I could just, get this out of the way, and then I can go ahead and, do my own little things. No, when a woman is cooking for you, when a woman is cleaning after you, when a woman is rubbing your shoulders, you want her intentions behind the action to be genuine and to be for you, not for her own self-motivations or interests. Okay, let's continue on.
I don't disagree with you. And I think that's where God, like what I said before, is not going to judge us on what we don't know. He's going to judge us on what we do know. That doesn't mean that we're innocent. At the exact same time, I think the Spirit of God is constantly speaking to us and convicting us. We call it a conscience, right? So like there's an aspect of God's means of grace that is just general to everybody, in that we understand that murder is wrong, and that arguably everybody throughout history, barring a few wackadoos, believes that. And that is the image of God that we are created in, screaming out.
This is, same page.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, even in the book of James, the Epistle of Straw, as Luther would call it.
Yeah, by some pious Jew.
Yeah, perhaps. That in this book, God says, without works, faith is dead.
Yeah.
Faith without works is dead, rather.
Yeah.
So how do you reconcile that with this idea?
Yeah, so you're not saved for your works, but you're saved. No, sorry, you're not saved by your works, but you're saved for your works. So that's the fruit in the cursing of the fig tree. It's like, if I see a friend and he's claimed to be a Christian, but his entire life is reflecting the complete opposite, I would say to him, listen, I don't know what's between you and God. That's not my place. However, I have no evidence to see that the things that you actually confess have an actual, outpouring in that. And I think that should worry you. I want to grab you by your baptism, and I want to say, I'm going to hold you to the standard that you yourself are claiming. And so
what's the inverse of that?
The fruit is that which, where Jesus says, you will know my followers by their fruit. And that's why it's problematic when we see Christians doing things that are unchristian. Right? That's why people point out things like the Crusades or the Inquisitions. I think these are legitimate things that we can point to and say, if you pour out the substance, here, let me give you an illustration. So the methodology of form and substance, I said it's slow, so you didn't think.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Methodology of form and substance has this idea that this is Black Rifle. Oh, sweet. We don't have this in Canada. We don't have this in Canada.
Of course not.
Every time I come,
it's American, baby. It's
freedom.
Man, we don't have that up north.
Oh, we know.
So Black Rifle Energy.
Yeah.
Okay. I come in the room, I say, Andrew, can I drink this? And you say, yeah. I say, what is it? You say, Black Rifle Energy. I crack it open, I take a sip, it's gasoline.
Yeah.
Okay. It is Black Rifle Energy drink in form, and that it claims to be, but not in substance, and that the actual contents are not what the can is describing. So when we look at the contents, when we look at what Christianity actually dictates, and we see things like Jesus saying, love those who hate you, pray for those who persecute you, turn the other cheek, and then you look at something like conversion by the sword, we can say, based on the actual contents of what Christianity and the Bible claims to be, that is it in form but not in substance. And that person either is in a lot of trouble and that they're claiming to be something they aren't, or they really need to figure out what's what, and that they're going down a dangerous road. And so I forgot the original intention of this illustration.
Faith and works.
Faith and works. So, so you explain one version, then what's the inverse of that? What are the person that don't claim to be Christians, yet everything in their works shows that they are?
Sure. I would say ultimately...
The substance is Christian, but the form is not.
Right. So I would say that when Jesus is asked, what is the greatest commandment? He says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. All the good works, if they're not done in the love of God, that is actually a commandment that someone who doesn't believe cannot fulfill.
Right there. So perfect example, Wes. You laid that out perfectly. So this explains again that, you can go ahead and do these good things, but if it's not for God, then, is it really, that's not going to get you to heaven. It's not for me. It's very simple. It's simple as just submit to me, right? Like if we just break it down in simple terms where we compare it, a lot of these things you can just compare it to relationships, right? It's funny how you can do that. God over man, man over woman, woman over children. And there's a reason for that order, because the children submit to the parents. The woman submits to the man. Man submits to God. Christ, right? Christ submits to the church, right? And that so that order itself, the man submits to God. You submit yourself to God, Jesus Christ. That's what you do. And the only way you can do that is by the things that you do, the intent behind the things you do. Who do you do it for? Are you doing it for yourself? Like, think about it. If it's not for God, who is it for? Right? Who is it for? It would have to be for yourself. Or is it for some chick? You're doing something for some chick, bro? Come on, you worshiping a chick now? You a simp? Like, who are you doing it for? There's just a few different places where we can put the good and the bad things of for, who we do it for. Either for self, for someone else, or is it for God? You get what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, and that's part of submission. That's part of, even if you're looking at the dating aspect, the woman should be doing things for you, submitting to you. You don't want her doing things that's good, but she's doing it for another man. Like, think about it. Chicks, let's just map this out for y'all, right? Chicks that have ulterior motives, that's in a relationship with you where she got 1 foot in but 1 foot out, things can be looking good for people, but then it could be looking good for the man. But then the man gets blindsided because the chick just up and left. He thought, and by her actions and being observant to all of the things that she was doing, he thought that, wow, she's still, everything is good. I seen everything is good. She's still operating as normal. She's still doing the things that she's always done. But the intent of why and who she was doing it for has changed. Before it was for you. So she was still, cooking food and, doing laundry and doing her duties and taking care of the kids. She was still doing those duties. But 6 months ago, she was doing it for you. But just 2 months ago, she started to do it for herself so she can plan her exit. I repeat, the woman continued to do those things for you. So it was like, wow. Like a lot of guys be blindsided because, I mean, a lot of them, they're not aware of female nature. So they get blindsided when the female divorces them or just ups and leaves, right? They're like, wow, like nothing changed. Her behaviors was still the same. Well, yeah, the behaviors was the same, but her intent behind the behaviors was different, right? So instead of doing the things that she was doing before for you, she started to do these same things, but to plan her exit strategy, and she divorced you. That's the same thing when it comes to how what God would expect from us, because God knows our nature, right? God knows our nature. God knows us. Therefore, he wants us to do the things, the good things, not for self-interest, but he needs to know that it's for him. Say his name. You get what I'm saying? So this is a good conversation. Let's continue on a little more.
Wait, say it again?
Yeah.
Say it again?
Crazy, dude.
Wait, say it again. Say it again.
Right. So I get asked sometimes, like, is there something that a Christian can do that an atheist can't morally?
There's something a Christian can do that an atheist can't
morally.
No.
And I would say yes, and it's love God. The atheist doesn't want to. He's not going to do it, and he can't do it.
Yeah.
And that is when Jesus is asked, what is...
That is facts. The thing that an atheist can't do, that a Christian can do, is love God. You can do all of these things, but the one thing you can't do is love God. Like the debater that I had up, he thinks that he is God. He appeals to himself. That's why when we had that debate, I defeated him easily. Like I let him speak a little bit because when I debated him before, I really didn't remember the debate. It was months ago, bro. He said it was like 1 or 2 months ago. Bruh, it was like, it's May right now. It was probably like beginning of year type stuff. Like it was a minute ago. But so I kind of I let him speak to understand his epistemology and where he was coming from. But then I knew like, wait, time out. This guy literally just believes that he's God. Let me just go ahead and defeat him real quick. So yeah, man, like you gotta love God. Like God needs to know that the love is genuine, right? Like one of the ways that this is why God gave us free will. Free will is the ability to make choice. It's very simple. The ability for us to make choice. Now there's things that we can infringe on our own free will to an extent by if, a person with bad intentions wants to tie up a family and children and, restrict them from movement or even speaking and things like that. Well, you're taking away their free will physically, but free will from a general aspect means that the ability to make choice. So God could have made us all robots, right? God is the creator of everything that we observe and even the things that we don't observe. With that being said, he could have created us as robots, and it could have been, from measurements aspect, a perfect world. Everybody does the right thing because that's what God programmed into us, right? The thing is, we're not robots. God gave us free will. We can choose to obey God or choose to not obey God. If we choose to obey God, well, guess what? There's going to be good consequences because we'll go to heaven. Does that mean that even if we're obeying God, that we won't feel some harm and some, consequences in the physical world? Yeah, because other people do bad things. So bad things can still happen to us in the physical world, but we believe in God. So we believe in a higher power than ourselves. So we appeal to a source that's outside of ourselves. This is how we can overcome suffering and the bad things that we experience in the physical world. With that being said, God didn't create us as robots. He created us as sentient beings with free will. And the reason why he gave us free will is because God himself wants to experience love. It's the only way. Think about it. Bro, all the human beings that created things in this world, guess what? The things that you created they can never express their love for you because it has no soul. So if you create a car, the car cannot express its love for you. If you create a computer, the computer cannot express its love for you because you put the zeros and ones in it. You told it what to do. It doesn't have any free will. Do you get what I'm saying? God made us with free will for the purpose of experiencing love, for the purpose of him experiencing our love to him. So this is why God wants us to love him. It's that simple. Let's continue on.
Is the greatest commandment. That's the thing he points to.
See, this is where, like, I think that we're not giving God enough credit, because I think God is looking at the atheist who lives a quote unquote Christian life, and the atheist goes, I don't believe in God. And I think God's up there like, gotcha.
Yeah.
So
like, but that's how high I view God.
Sure.
Like, I feel like God is so powerful, so intelligent that he's aware of our little intellectualizing of who he is and how we behave.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's like, it's like when your kid first starts learning stuff in school and they're like 11, they start trying to tell you.
No, what he's explaining right now is simp behavior. This is what simps do. When simps is with a woman, it's so funny that he's explaining this way because he's saying, well, God is so intelligent. Well, God is very intelligent and God knows our heart, right? And God does know our intent as well. So it's very easy, right? It's very easy to know someone's intent. And we already know that an atheist, right, that can be doing these right things. The atheist does not believe in God. So the things that the atheist is doing, even though it's good, God already knows that is not for him, right? So I don't think that Andrew Schultz followed Wes Huff logic when Wes Huff was just speaking, when he laid that out there. So yeah, let's continue on.
What the stars are, and you're like, yeah, sure, it's exactly what they are, and that's exactly how history is, and
you just
it's adorable.
Chuckle. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so that's what I assume God is doing, and that's how I guess that's how I solve the problem for the person on the island, or the good person that was never given Christianity, or the person that was given.
Yeah, and the other part that I want to make about that is it's simp behavior. That's what a simp would say to the woman, because it's like, oh, well, you know, like, they're not expecting anything back. Simp behavior. Andrew Schultz just said, well, God created us. God gave us life. Simp behavior is when you are doing something for someone, but they do not reciprocate on their end. I repeat, a man that's a simp is he's doing things for a woman, normally going out his way, doing the most for a woman, right? But the woman does not reciprocate from her end, meaning that she doesn't give anything back to the man. She's not reciprocating love, sex, genuineness, or anything back. She's just taking from the man, but then that's it. The thing is what Andrew Schultz is saying. He's saying, well, God is all knowledgeable, and he's explaining God in a simp way where it's like, well, God doesn't want us to reciprocate. God did everything for us and gave us life and did so many things for us and is always doing things for us, but we shouldn't reciprocate on his end and do the things that we're doing for God, right? No, we should reciprocate. We should reciprocate that back. Okay, we got some people coming in for a debate. This was a good clip. I'll have my clip guy. My clip guy is probably watching. If you're watching, go ahead and clip this part up, and we'll put this up sometime this week. And I want you guys to tune into this when we clip this up and put this part of the conversation up. And then also clip up that debate too. I have my clip guy clip that up of the guy that I debated, because I want to get him. That was a good conversation that me and that guy had. So I want to get that up there as well. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and close down this, stop sharing, and we got a debater. I hope it's a debater. Let's see. I can't hear you. No audio. You come back? Okay, come back. All right, come back. All right, it's the guy. He's coming back. While he's coming back, give him a quick chance. Let me go ahead and do this real quick. All right, chat. Sorry about that. I had to go to the bathroom, so I just put that timer up real quick. Had to run to the bathroom real quick, man. Thank y'all for being patient. Y'all probably like, hey, what happened? Shout out to Chris Monroe, sent in $10 via Cash App. He says, for testing from St. Louis. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, the testing went through well. I did receive your $10 Cash App. I appreciate you, man. I do appreciate it. So anyone that wants to send in donations, you can send it in via Cash App. And this way, YouTube isn't taking 30% of the cash that you're sending. And if you have an iPhone, they're taking about 70 to 80% of the cash that I think they're taking it's like 60 to 70%, not 80. It's like 60 to 70%. So really when you send in, $10, if you would have sent it through YouTube with the Apple phone, bro, I would have got a couple cents. Would have got like $1 or something. But anyways, let's go ahead and get this caller up.
Yo, what's going on, my guy?
All right. Welcome to No Fugazee podcast. State your name and where you're from.
My name's Tommy Grimm. I'm from Chicago, but I was raised in South Florida.
Tommy Grimm. Okay. You have your own podcast? Are you streaming currently right now yourself?
No, I'm not streaming.
Okay, cool.
I've had a podcast in the past, but I'm doing other ventures and trying to do more like content and stuff like that and dip my toes in that and editing and all that. But anyways.
Cool. Yeah. What are you here to debate about, man?
I actually want to debate about you because I seen you pop up a few times on my feed, and I checked into you a couple times, and then I seen other people criticize you.
Okay.
So I have a few questions. I don't remember exactly where I found them criticizing you about these things. Are you okay with that? If I talk about that, or
it's debate night, man. So whatever you want. You got to push forth your argument. So it's a debate. So whatever you disagree with me about, go ahead and push forth your argument. The floor is yours to state whatever you want to state. And then, we'll go from there.
All right. Sounds good. All right. So I'm under the impression that from previous, like a long time ago, I've seen some clips of you talking about like dating single mothers and stuff like that, and then things came out to where as a matter of fact you're married to a mother that has kids but they're not your kids.
Yeah, so I'm not married to anyone. I'm unmarried.
Okay.
Yep, but I am dating a woman. No, I'm not married. I'm not married at all. I am dating a woman that that has kids. And we currently have children of our own, but when we got into a relationship, I had a child of my own as well.
Okay. So you both had kids, and you got into a relationship. And I remember that you were saying that this woman that you are in a relationship with, and if you don't want to talk about your personal stuff, you could just stop me whenever you want to.
No, man, go ahead. I mean, if I don't hide anything, it's no Fugazi podcast, man. But state your argument. Like, what exactly do you want to debate about?
well, my main argument is that you were preaching to your fan base that this is not something that they should do, and that you found like 1 in a million. How, like, what does that mean? Like 1 in a million? How do you know that she's 1 in a million?
Okay, I got you. So you're pretty much saying that you're making the claim that, Cooley, you were saying something to your audience, but you were doing the opposite, so you're a hypocrite.
I wouldn't call you a hypocrite because you could smoke cigarettes and tell people not to smoke. So I wouldn't consider that person a hypocrite.
Okay, so
I'm trying to see why
not hypocrisy.
You're not a hypocrite, right? You're not a hypocrite. So maybe explain why you're not hypocritical. You're not being hypocritical by telling these people to not do this, but yet you're doing it.
Okay, got it. So I get your statement. That's not an argument, though. So that's a statement that you're making, right? So the statement that you're making, I can say, is untrue. Well, one, because my audience, I lost no subscribers. My audience know about my personal life. Nothing was never hidden. The whole expose thing was a lie. It's just some blue pill people that is against the manosphere or against any type of red pill content creator type stuff. They just, want to make up lies about people, right? So once again, my entire life was always on social media as far as my relationship and things like that, and nothing was ever hidden. I actually have a TikTok channel with at one point it was like, I think it was like, or almost 2 million followers. And this was years ago, right? Way before I even started the podcast myself. And this was content that I did with my woman and stuff like that. So people already knew about me, you know what I'm saying? And nothing was never hidden. In regards to me speaking about single mothers, right? So if I tell someone something like, well, generally speaking, single mothers, how would you assume that the single mother became single?
She left him. She left the guy, most of the time she leaves the guy.
She left the guy. And in cases, do you think that the single mother became a single mother due to promiscuity? They got knocked up? Or what's your general idea about a single mother?
How it happened?
Yeah, like most single moms, like what's your stigma? You know that there's a stigma against single moms, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you perceive that stigma to be?
Well, I've dealt with single mothers, and when I did deal with them, so this is anecdotal. When I dealt with them, it was more, and like I said, I live in South Florida, so they wanted to party more than anything else, and they wanted to go and live their life. And it's like, dealing with them is like, you have a kid at home and you want to go party and you're looking for a guy like me.
But I'm asking more about how did they become single moms? So right. I'll just go ahead and say it.
Oh, yeah.
Generally, from my observation and the stigma around other people's observation as well, is that, well, the man left that woman. That's why she became single. Like, she was out sleeping around and some dude did not want to be there with the father. She's a single mom, right? She got knocked up and the father don't want the kid and don't want her. You know what I'm saying? The other side of it is, well, she was doing some stuff and maybe she didn't want to be with the guy, but why was she sleeping with someone that she unprotected that she didn't want to be with? So when the stigma around single moms in general, not saying all, but in general, that stigma around single moms is that 304s, they're promiscuous, they're doing things selfishly, not really thinking about the kid, just up and leaving a father, or being promiscuous and having unprotected sex and having a guy knock them up and a man leaving them. Would you say that that's generally the stigma around single moms?
It could be the stigma, but from what I can see, from what I could see is it's like they picked the wrong guy. A lot of the times they picked the wrong guy, but that's still on them. They chose to have unprotected sex with them.
They chose to have unprotected sex. They chose the wrong guy. The guy knocked them up. He left, or maybe she kicked him out the door. That's the stigma, right? So it's like bad choices, throwing some promiscuity in there. It's like not the best type of woman, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
Yeah, that's the stigma around it. So if you're doing a podcast and you're speaking to men, a prescription would be to tell them to avoid certain women like that. So with the whole exposure thing, they didn't expose anything. They just put a bunch of lies out and stuff like that. When I had single moms on a one, I've always said that I dated the single mom. That was already out as well, but she's not single because I'm with her, right? We've been together for a long time, almost like 9-10 years now. This has been a long time, right? Like 9 years. We've been together since we were like 26, 25, something like that. But anyways, the stigma around single moms, when I'm speaking about that in general, I'm telling guys with no kids to avoid single moms, because I do these dating podcasts where I have single moms on a panel, and these single moms do not want to date guys with kids. And I give these single moms the reality, like, well, one, you want a man. That's crazy. Well, that's crazy. One, you want a man that does not have any kids, but you have kids. Yeah. Dag, like, really? Like, you wouldn't take a man with kids? Like, okay, well, that doesn't make sense, but I guess we can go down that route. Then I just give them the reality of it. Like, most men, if they don't have any kids, you are recreational use only. So that's the stance.
Wait, say that last part one. Say that last part one more time.
Most guys, if you don't have any kids, you are recreational use only to the single mothers, to most guys.
Right.
Then, if the man has kids, well, how many men have their kids full time? Very, very small percent. Only 12% of fathers are granted full custody. So that means that 82% of men that do have kids, they're pretty much single anyway. They don't really got their kid, right?
Right.
So when I speak about me being the exception to the rule and my girl being the exception to the rule of what I speak about, because one, when we met, I was a single father that had full custody of my child. I had full custody of my child, right? So I'm in the 12th percentile. Then when we're speaking about single moms, this wasn't a woman that got knocked up by a guy and just left. No, this was a woman that was married to an individual. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And at a young age, like high school and stuff like that. So it was much different. She didn't follow the same stigma that was on the single moms. And then I didn't follow the same, single guy that has no kids or maybe sees their kid every other weekend. No, I was a guy that had my kid full time. So it's much different when a man like myself that has their child full time that's out there dating, you'll be looking for different things within a woman. But yeah, I'll go ahead and land my plane there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I know this is kind of a debate thing. Honestly, I was just trying to test it to see if it worked, to see if what
worked.
To see if I could just click the thing and then hop in.
This guy funny. Okay.
But no, that was the one thing that I remember about because I used to see your stuff pop up and I seen other creators making stuff about you. So I just really wanted to, because I never saw the end result of that. Of what you actually thought and how you felt about the situation. And
I did a whole video on it. I did a whole response. I only did I do one? Yeah, I only did one response video and I just debunked it all. So I pulled up clips of when I even, like the stream today where I bring on men to debate, or sometimes I do a chill stream and I'm chopping it up with my supporters and people would come in and ask questions and stuff like that. So I even brung up videos, like clips, live streams that I did where I would speak about my own personal life. Yeah. And I'm telling men about my own personal life. Then I brung up clips where I'm in podcasts with the girls. Even that same clip that went viral of me with those Spanish girls, if you just continue that video on, you'll see towards the end, I say all the things that I'm saying now. Like, well, I'm speaking about the single moms as recreational use only. Well, if you want a man that don't have kids, it's a high probability the guy that doesn't have any kids, he's going to use you as recreational use only. You get what I'm saying? So that's the stuff that I'm speaking about. But yeah, man, good questions. Anything else, or that's it?
So what's your religion?
I would say that I follow Christianity. I would say that's my moral ethic system is Christianity. Yeah.
Okay, so I can't argue with that there because
Yeah.
All right.
All
Thanks
good,
for
man.
Thanks for having me up.
Have a blessed one, man, and thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.
You too, man.
Peace. All right. I guess he just wanted to call in and test it out and see how debate night works. Yeah, man, I'm here for all the smoke. It wasn't even smoke, but the thing here at No Fugazi Podcast, man, what people don't understand, the reason why I'm 2 years in, I have 2.5 years in, I have, over 3,000 subscribers where we continue to grow is because there's no Fugazi over here, man. I tell you about the pros and the cons of myself. I tell you about the L's. I tell you about the flaws. I tell you about the W's. I keep it real with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I keep it real with yous. I keep it funky with yous. All right. Yo, get the likes up, man, because a lot of y'all be in here, bro. Y'all do not be liking the podcast. Let's check the likes. 87 likes. What? We need 150 likes, bro. A lot of Ninja watchers. Come on. It's 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come on. Get the likes up, man. We just had a debate. Washed the guy about his moral ethics system. Christianity is much superior than his. Just reacted to the Wes Huff clip. Just had a regular caller calling in to ask some stuff about the exposure stuff. Cleared that up quick. Even he's like, oh, okay. All right. Well, I don't know what was going on. Like, yeah, man, people be creating propaganda. And that's the thing, man. When anyone out there that's, looking to create content, if you're putting yourself out there, bro, there's always going to be opposing views. There's going to be another side to whatever angle you're coming at. And with these reaction videos and stuff, reactions is a big thing. People make lots of money off of reactions. And I'm reacting to content as well, right? But when there's different styles of reactions. We know the channels that is fully red pill hatred or manosphere hatred, or they're just totally against anything of patriarchy. Let's just say they're patriarchy resistant. And these channels will make reaction videos about my content. They'll make reaction videos about Christianity content. They'll make reaction videos about conservative content, and they'll do full bashes, and they'll just make lies because they know that there's a market for it, because they know that there are many people out there that has opposing views. So this is what they'll do. They'll try to, tear down your character by making up many lies and stuff like that too. This is what comes with the territory of being a content creator. And I already know about all of this. I already knew about it before I got into it. People think that it was something with the whole expose thing. I'm like, bro, when TikTok first started popping, I was already at like 1.5 milli doing content with my shorty, and she a white girl. People already making death threats like, oh, nigga, you with the white chick? What's going on here? Oh, them dang white kids. Like, people already said the most craziest things. And back then it was like new, but I'm a masculine man. I'm not sensitive. I'm like, well, people got the right to say whatever they gonna say, because if I'm gonna put the content out there, go ahead and say whatever you want to say. Ain't doing nothing for me. If anything, it's just pushing the movement and my business even much further, which is crazy, man, which is crazy. that people think that they can tear somebody down, but it didn't work, man. If anything, it just built homie back up. New studio, as you see. Hey, look. Shout out to Ease. Ease gave this to me. Ease hooked me up with this. He was like, yo, bro, I know you got the new studio, man. You got the table set up. You looking very presidential. You got the flag in the back. Yo, you need one of these. Homie came through, brung it. I'm like, yeah, man, I'll put it right here. So shout out to Ease. He brung that. And we should be doing a full panel dating and relationship podcast this Friday. Hopefully we get enough girls to show up so then we can do that. But if not, then this Friday, I'll most likely do a stream. I'll most likely do like a stream, do some reactions, or maybe even do a debate, like open debate. But I'll promote it better so we can really get some people in here that want to join debate night. Normally, we get a lot of people in when I promote debate night on my other channels because I have 1 million followers on Facebook. So when I promote it on there, I get a lot of people that join the stream for debate night. When I promote it on Instagram, where I have over 500,000 people on there, I get a lot of people that join debate night. So sometimes you'll see debate nights be flooded, then other times it'll be low. It's really up to me on how I promote it. Today, I didn't promote it at all on the other platforms because I knew I wanted to react to a lot of content. So I didn't want to have a lot of people coming in. So I just did, no promotion on the other platforms. Just put up the stream because I wanted to react to this content. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into the Raging Tomato debate that I had yesterday when I debated two feminists on is OnlyFans harmful for society? So I'm going to go ahead and pull up this debate now, and we're going to go ahead and get into this reaction. So go ahead and like the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, click that bell icon. Do that for me now. Let's go. Also, I do know that there's an echo because this studio is much bigger and it's kind of empty right now. I'm moving more stuff in, but this echo that you're hearing, it will go away. Give me 2 weeks. We'll have more stuff will be moved into this big space and it won't be so echoey. 2 weeks, just 2 weeks, man. And that echo will go away. I'm sure there's maybe a way where I can, cause I got the Zoom podcast track that I'm using, and then I'm using the ATM Mini Pro for the switcher, and then I'm using Restream. I was looking through all of these, echo cancellation, but it's really a reverb that it's given. Let me see real quick. Chat, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and turn on echo cancellation. One second here. I'm going to go ahead and turn on echo cancellation on Restream and see if that does anything. You use OBS? Hey, Tommy, I'm not on OBS right now. But if you got some skills with OBS, we can talk. Send me your number through the private chat, Tommy. Send me your number so we can communicate after this stream, because I do want to convert to OBS. I do have it, and it's hooked up, but Restream is just much user-friendly for when I do this type of stuff, but I do need some assistance with OBS. But yes, Tommy, send me your number. We'll chop it up, bro, right after stream. For real. Send me your number. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and turn on the echo cancellation now. Put a 1 in the chat if the echo went away. You know what? It's crazy. Echo cancellation is already turned on. What the heck? Yeah, so it isn't doing anything. Or Tommy, if send me DM. Okay, IG, yes. I got your Instagram. Cool, Tommy. I'll hit you up through IG. Chop it up through IG, bro. All right. Dang, echo cancellation is on. Let's try noise suppression. Let's see what that does. Okay, chat. I just put on noise suppression. is that doing anything? Put a 1 in the chat if noise suppression is doing something. It is. So noise suppression is good, meaning that it took away that echo? Yeah, okay, it did take away the echo. Okay, all right. So noise suppression. All right, wow, let me listen. Is that doing anything? Put a 1 in the chat if noise suppression is doing something. It is. So your kids. Like a stream, do some reactions, or maybe even do a debate, like open debate. I'll promote it. Dang, noise suppression did work. It worked pretty good. I think I can get it better though. So Tommy, I'll chop it up with you about OBS because I got some questions on that. And I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for tuning in too. And good questions, man. I know you came on in just to, ask some questions, which that's what we do these type of open dialogue debates about. All right, let's get into the Rotten Tomatoes. I said rotten, the Raging Tomatoes debate that I had yesterday with two feminists. This was an interesting one. All right, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I am Sarah, the Raging Tomato, bringing to you live another Moderator Monday. I was a little bit late on putting you guys back up on stage. I apologize. This evening, I've got with myself a No Fugazi podcast, David Cooley. I've got Jaden, also known as Womes. I've got Diddley, coming from Diddley ASMR, and Kat Katibi. I'm going to switch you to. Tonight, we're going to be discussing the question, is OnlyFans harmful to society? I will be mindful and remind us all to be generous to TOS terms, so on and so forth. But overall, I think we'll be fine. And to the mods in chat, help keep it clean. Thank you so much. David, if you'd like to start with your opening statement, please.
Yeah, how's it going, everyone? Shout out to Kat, Diddley, and Holmes. I have that right? All right.
Yeah,
cool.
You got it.
All right. So here's my opening statement that I have written down. It's crazy that we even have to discuss tonight's topic on if OnlyFans is harmful or not. This shows how far we've moved away from morality and what people perceive to be harmful to themselves or to others. To be quite frank, I believe that my two opponents already believe OF is harmful, but they want to make an excuse to do and consume degenerate behavior. They'll mask it by saying they believe in freedom of choice and bodily autonomy, but that's just a cover-up to excuse their hedonism. With reports showing an estimation of 1.4 million women use OnlyFans, and 1.2 of them are the ages of 18 and 24, and they only make about $150. So these young ladies are selling their self-dignity, respect, and most importantly, they're selling their soul. Also, just think of the impact that it already has on kids in school when they find out that, hey, we just seen Kyle's mom stick some bananas in her butt crack and got gangbanged. Ugh, it's disgusting. Little Kyle is going to be made fun of. That's what's going to happen. He's going to experience harm, mental harm, and all other sorts of type of harm, being bullying and all that other type of stuff. Reports also show that 90% of consumers are married men. So it's breaking down general relationships and marriages. Imagine you married and you walk into your room and you find your husband beating off to some OnlyFans thought. You're going to be like, oh, God dang, women, she's going to file for the divorce. They already like to divorce men anyway, so you know that's what's going to happen. Now, some of these major effects have been exploitation and human trafficking, promotion of non-consensual content, financial exploitation, and major health impacts. I would assume that my opponents are feminists. So it's a bit ironic because one of the original goals of feminism was to get rid of the idea of women being sex objects. With that, I'll yield my time.
Thank you, David. Kat, to you.
Okay, so I'm going to argue that it's harmful to American society, not because of individual choices, but because it exploits vulnerabilities. It normalizes transactional sexuality among the youth. It destabilizes our cultural values, and this billion-dollar platform threatens our children and communities. OnlyFans top creators usually are first actors, singers, YouTubers, and other influencers, famous for child accessible content like music or vlogs or other types of YouTube channels. They leverage their mixed age audiences, including minors, to promote adult content, blurring the line between what is safe and exploited. These creators, followed by millions on platforms like YouTube, post non-nude content such as cooking shows or whatever it may be, which attract younger fans, embedding the notion that success equals transactional sexuality. A study found that 68% of women report men demanding instant sex, up from 45%. As 82 million male subscribers, half of men age 18 to 45, equate payment with sexual access. This exploits 4 to 5% of limerent fans obsessed with creators, intensifying shallow demands and shallow relationships. Young fans exposed to blurred content internalize sex work as aspirational, yet creators reliant on youthful looks face pressure to escalate into uncomfortable exploitative content to compete, sacrificing viable long-term careers for a fickle, youth-obsessed industry. Next, OnlyFans consequences are severe. Only 1% of creators, as he said, earn anything that you can make a living over. And 62% regret participating, citing depression, boundary violations, and ruined relationship. Top earners attract opportunistic men exploiting their, I'm not going to say that word. Creators face job loss and stigma with 65% of employers screening social media before getting hired. So if OnlyFans doesn't work out, it's going to be harder to get a good, high-paying career. OnlyFans harms the youth and their mental health. Its curated content drives body dysmorphia, with 1 in 4 teens reporting negative self-image, and lacks age verification, exposes minors to explicit content, with educators noting sexualized teen behavior increases. A survey found 70% of parents are worried about platforms like OnlyFans influencing the youth, with 60% of Americans viewing adult content as harmful. It erodes our moral fabric. My opponent may claim that it's empowering, and I respect their perspective, but success is an outlier. Most, 62%, regret participation, and youth equating success with exploitation shows systemic harm. OnlyFans devalues sustainable careers, exploits limerence, and endangers children. As we debate, envision a society where success is built on lasting skills, not transactional sex, and children are protected from exploitative norms.
Thank you, Kat. Diddly to you.
Okay, this is my first time on Sarah's channel, so first of all, thanks for having me. If you've never heard of me, I'm Diddly. I'm a full-time YouTuber. I do OnlyFans, and I have a degree in psychological science. So these kinds of topics I tend to like talking about. On the topic of is OnlyFans harmful to society? In reality, most men watch porn. Most people watching the stream right now watch porn. Sources cite around 75% of men and 40% of women watch it, and they are perfectly capable of engaging with it in a healthy manner. Like any form of entertainment, there are obviously healthy and unhealthy ways of engaging with it. The prevalence of people engaging with porn, and particularly OnlyFans, in an unhealthy manner, however, is often massively inflated by the people who discuss this topic online. And the actual number of people who report problematic porn use differs a little bit from study to study, but it tends to hover around 4% for men and 1% for women. So even at an individual level, the actual number of people who report negative outcomes is just incredibly low. And on a societal level, we're just not seeing these harmful effects. There's no research showing that watching pornography causes mental illness. Having poor mental health, however, can lead to problematic porn use in the same way maybe a clinically depressed person might waste their days away playing video games as a mean to cope. but it's obviously important that we understand the relationship between these two things and that correlation does not equal causation. Another really important factor that often gets overlooked is that OnlyFans is clearly an amazing solution to a lot of the problems that arise in the mainstream porn industry, whereby creators can control the means of production and distribution of their content. They're in control of pretty much everything down to the hours they work, who they work with, what content they produce, and they're making most of the money rather than some porn company. It's undoubtedly, undoubtedly the safest and most ethical form of sex work that there is. And this is an undeniable improvement from what we had before. I know a lot of people when discussing this topic love to bring up, oh, your kids are going to get bullied in school, therefore it is bad. To that, especially to no Fugazee, I would say, well, if your child gets bullied in school for being Black, does that say anything about you as a person? I think it's more of a reflection on the child who is bullying other children and their parents who are kind of allowing that to happen, rather than any kind of moral comment on the kid that's getting bullied. And we'll move on to Holmes.
Thank you so much, Diddley.
So, chat, remember that statement of what she said. She compared Cooley, if your child was bullied because he was Black, like her argumentation in this, her argument was so trash. You're going to see me rip her argument to shreds. To shreds. Keep watching, chat. Let's skip a little bit ahead from... he actually doesn't say much, so let's just continue on.
Holmes.
How you going, guys? Just like to introduce myself because it's sort of my debut on the internet, as you might have. Basically, I've existed in these political spaces for a long time, but I don't really produce any content myself. Been invited here graciously by Sarah, so thanks for having me. Just going to keep the statement pretty short because I think Diddley covered a lot of what I was going to say. I think to prove that there's harms on a societal level, you're going to need some pretty incredible evidence because it's very hard to correlate these sort of things, like any sort of harms, to OnlyFans, because OnlyFans is, as a category, it's so broad. Like, even porn itself is extremely hard to define, and then when you put the umbrella of OnlyFans above it, it becomes even harder. So I'm keen to get into it and have a good discussion, guys.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. And as a kind reminder to all of our viewers, we're going to have about a 2-hour debate. We will end with our closing statements, read and respond to some of your super chats. And then, of course, per usual, we will go into open panel dumpster fire.
Time out. It's kind of funny reacting to your stuff. Go ahead, David. Do that. Do that, David. Wait, it's over there. I'm up there. Yeah, do that, David. Kill him, David. Get him. Get him, David. It's kind of funny reacting to your own video, All right, I was just goofing off a little bit with y'all. Let's continue on. It's late, man. It's late. What you expect?
I leave the floor open to you.
Sure. I'll go ahead and start with the first question since Diddley posed I guess it was like a question, or not a question, actually a statement. You said that, well, David, if your child was bullied for being Black, isn't that just just as bad as if, someone's mom, someone's mom footage was leaked and some kids viewed it? Are you making that comparison that it's the same? Getting bullied for being Black is the same as being bullied as someone's, mom, OnlyFans was leaked in school.
No, the point of bringing up that comparison is to say that just because a child is getting bullied for something that their parents did doesn't mean that it's a good reason to bully someone. It doesn't really indicate that the child or their parents are doing anything wrong.
Well, that's a poor analogy because being Black isn't a choice. But
sure, well, we can do a different analogy if you'd like.
Look, someone's mom deciding to get gangbanged on OnlyFans is a choice. So that is
okay. Well, if your child got
analogy.
bullied because you're a YouTuber, does that mean YouTube is bad for society, harmful to society?
What I'm saying is the reason why they're getting bullied because it's disgusting. It's filthy seeing pornography or nudity anywhere, especially if it's someone's mom. That's why it's bad. Let me ask you a question, Diddley. Would you be okay with your mom or your father consuming your content?
consuming my content, no.
You wouldn't be okay with it. And why wouldn't you
No.
be okay with it?
I don't want my parents to watch me engaging in sexual acts.
That's the difference between me and you. If you ask me the question, I would be quite okay if my mom or my father consume my content. I do YouTube. I'm not.
Okay, that's fine. Would you be okay if your
exploiting
mom and dad
myself.
watched you have sex with someone?
That's much different. You are
Why is
having
that
sex
different?
online. What are you talking about?
I don't have sex online.
I don't put that content out. You are the one that actually has
I
an
don't have sex
OnlyFans.
online.
Yo, she's like the worst debater. Like she's trying to make these comparisons, and her comparisons was just so dumb. Like, diddly, what don't you understand? You made the first comparison to when we're speaking about bullying. This woman said, well, David, if you are, let me make sure my audio is right. Okay, it is right. Her comparison was so dumb in her opening. She says, David, well, what if someone bullied your child because they're black? Okay, fair enough. That doesn't correlate to anything. Versus someone bullying someone else's child because their mother does OnlyFans and they can see their mother's butthole. Bullying happens in school, but it's what the person is bullied for that actually has the impact. So then she makes the comparison. What if someone bullied your kid because you do YouTube videos? Well, okay, someone can say something bad about my content, like, oh, cool, you said something that I don't agree with. Okay, great. How much harm can that do? Versus the content that she does, and her son is being bullied. Hey, Kyle, we just seen your mom's booty hole and she was shoving bananas in it. Like, that's much worse. That would damage the kid much. That's automatic damage. It's automatic damage. You can't even point out the damage that it would do. And then I actually say some anecdotal evidence, but you can't even point out the damage that it would do to a kid if someone said, hey, I seen your father's YouTube and I don't like what he says. What damage is that doing to a kid? It's like, okay, I don't care that you don't like what my father said. Like, how is this harming me? But versus what she does, which is OnlyFans, and a kid walking up to him like, hey, I just seen your mom's booty crack, and guess what? After football practice, we're about to just watch your mom's OnlyFans and just whack off to it, bro. Your mom's hot. Or it could be your mom's ugly. Her booty hole is hairy, bro. You came out of that? Ew. Like, the amount of jokes and how degrading it is to a kid. And kids are already ruthless anyway. Kids see any type of flaw or deficiency within your little family structure or you yourself, they're going to make fun of you. In high school, you walking with the wrong sneakers on, you getting made fun of. That's a form of bullying. So it's the other thing is about the kid's sensitivity level. Bullying is subjective. What one person would perceive as being bullying to another person would just be like, oh, he just said some stupid stuff. I didn't really care about it. And you know what? I said some stupid stuff right back at him. But is it stupid if your mom is literally getting gangbanged on OnlyFans? That isn't stupid. That's disgusting. Like, they're saying things that it is going to affect your emotions. I don't care how stoic a little kid can be. That's affecting, put it like this, bro. If my mom, I'm not a sensitive guy at all, right? I wouldn't say that I'm a sensitive guy. I say that I'm a fairly stoic guy. I had some chicks come on my podcast, throw some drinks at me, didn't even move an inch. I had some chicks swing on me on my podcast, didn't do nothing. I did some podcasts with some male feminists that came on and I was talking junk in his face and he ain't do nothing. He was scared. I would say that I'm a fairly masculine man that isn't sensitive, but hypothetically, if my mom did OnlyFans, I would be ashamed that that's my mom. I would do my best my best so that never came out so someone wouldn't talk about my mom, because that's my mom. Like, dag. Now, for me, I wouldn't be sensitive, but I would be like, man, I hope this doesn't get out. Or, God dang, you talking about my mom again? Freak, mama, why you had to do the OnlyFans? You done ruined my life forever. Now my reputation, right? My reputation is about your hind cheeks on OnlyFans. Is about your breast and you getting plowed by somebody on OnlyFans. So it's much different. And the diddly chick, she couldn't make that like that different. Like she couldn't distinguish the two good at all. She was all over the place during the debate and like had no coherent argument. But let's continue on.
Mine.
So what do? You stick bananas up your butthole?
No, so I don't do full nudity on my OnlyFans.
You don't do full nudity. What do you do?
No. So I do a lot of audio erotica. I do like basically tease content, as far nude you can get without actually showing my butthole, vagina, or nipples.
Your butthole, vagina, or nipples. Is your whole cheeks hanging out your, let's say your pants?
My ass hanging out? Yeah,
yes.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Well, that's close enough. You basically naked, but you just covered up your butthole with a sticker and your nipples with a sticker. You're naked. It's disgusting.
Okay, so
what I'm saying is this.
I think I made a really great
point
point before that you pivoted from that I'd like to
make a good
get
point.
back to.
Here's the point, though. Why wouldn't you? Why aren't you okay? So the discussion.
I can get you to answer this question for you.
I'm actually going to interrupt for just a moment. I want to try to not make it personal. We can still move around the same conversation while making it a hypothetical and not directly at Diddley, if that's fair. Clean it up just a nudge for me.
Yep.
Could you answer that question for me, Coley?
I mean, I've already asked the question first, but you never answered it, so I'm getting back to my question.
No, I did. I said I don't want them to watch me engaging in sexual activities. And my question to you was, would you let your parents watch you have sex?
You've never explained why. And that's what I'm asking you.
Why do I not want my parents to watch me engaging in sexual activities?
Yes. Why wouldn't? No. To consume. So here's a hypothetical. Let's not make it personal. So let's pay attention to the rules that Sarah set forth. So my question is simply, people that do OF and they do sexual content on F, which is 98% of the creators on there, they actually do sexual content. We would say that your content is sexual, but not speaking about you. In general, people that do that content, do you think that they would be okay with their parents consuming their content? You already said no to yourself, so let's just say that most people would say no. My question for you is, why would they say no?
Because just like you wouldn't want your parents watching you have sex either.
But look at that. She didn't answer the question. She said, just like you. Yo, these chicks is so dumb. These OnlyFans chicks are horrible, bro. Dumb. She answers the question, just like you wouldn't want your parents watching you have sex. Wait, what are you speaking about? I'm not speaking about your parents watching you have sex in person. I'm speaking about your parents watching your OnlyFans content. My parents, it doesn't even correlate. So she tries to evade the question. This is what these hyper feminists do because they don't know how to think linear. They are horrible at thinking linear. One direction, straight. Their thinking is very tangential. Their thinking be all over the place. Let's continue on. I'm not in that industry.
You don't need to be in that industry to understand that you do not want your parents to sit down with a bucket of popcorn watching you fuck someone.
That is, you're still not answering the question. I'm speaking about the people that's in the industry. I asked it specifically, the people that actually create that content. Why wouldn't they be okay with their families consuming that content?
Yeah, so people tend to not want their families to watch them engaging with sexual activities.
Okay, and why not?
Because it's like a pretty private thing that you don't want your parents to see. And maybe they don't have any incestuous undertones.
And do you think that those parents are okay with the career path that their kids went into?
Mine definitely are, but even if they aren't, I don't think that has any bearing on whether or not that's harmful to society.
Wait, you said that. I'm sorry, Sarah, we got to make it personal because she said hers are. So if yours are okay with your career path that you made, why would they be disgusted by consuming your content? That's a contradiction.
Well, if someone's okay with their child working in the police force, but they're working on a really critical case and they can't show their parents, I don't think that means that they're in like a horrible industry and they're not proud of them for that.
No, that's not a good correlation. It's not saying that they're in an industry where they. Thanks, bro. I was muted. That was one of like the most horrible rebuttals that she just gave, and she evaded the question. Like, she gives the worst analogies that don't map on to the current discussion that we're having. The worst analogies. Like, I know y'all pissed off in the chat just by listening to her arguments, because it isn't even arguments, but by listening to her rebuttals, it's like, what are you talking about? That doesn't map on. Like, when you make an analogy, it has to map on to the current topic of the discussion. But she'll just say anything. It's like we're having a conversation about, let's say about rainbows, right? And she'll just be like, oh, well, monkeys fly from trees. What? What are you speaking about? What does monkeys flying from trees have to do with the colors of the... Shut up, stupid diddly. Let's continue on. Can't show it.
Analogy.
No, it's not at all. It doesn't map on. Well, it doesn't map on because you said that if someone is in an industry and they're not okay with showing their parents. That's not what I'm speaking about. I'm saying your parents consuming. Your parents don't need your consent to watch your content. They can just go on OF and subscribe to your content. That's much different. So your analogy does not map on at all.
Yeah, my parents aren't really into incest though.
Okay, so you said incest. The point that I'm making, I'll just make it clear because I don't think you understand. You keep trying to shift the goalpost and make an analogy, but it's not mapping on properly. The point that I'm making that you know in your heart of hearts that the content that you do is degenerate, and that your parents and generally speaking, any type of content creators, if they have family and if their family consumes their content, they know that their family wouldn't be too favorable to viewing their content. So
just to get this straight, this is your argument. I'm ashamed of what I do because I don't want my parents to see what I'm doing. Is that your argument?
100%.
So you're ashamed of having sex?
No. Why? I have sex for a living?
It doesn't matter. You don't want your parents to watch you pipe someone down, correct?
No. If I could offer a translation.
Yo, she's so dumb. It's like, are you ashamed for your parents? Are you ashamed that your parents know that you have sex? No, generally, sex brings about life. Sex is a good thing. You're having sex with your partner. You're having sex with the woman. That's a good thing, right? So what are you speaking about, Diddley? I wouldn't care. One, my mother knows that I have sex. If my mother walked in on me having sex with my shorty, it is what it is. I wouldn't feel ashamed, right? No one would feel ashamed if your mom walked in and you're having sex with your husband or your long-term boyfriend or the man that you're speaking to, that you're in a relationship. You wouldn't feel ashamed about that at all. But the thing is, she does feel ashamed about the career path that she chose. So she doesn't want her parents to view her content. Like, bro, these OnlyFans chicks is dumb, bro. They got it's whole logic. They're not based in regular logic, bro. They don't abide by the law of identity, the law of excluded middle, the law of non-contradiction. They don't abide by the Western laws of logic, bro. It's whole logic, whole math. 2 + 2 = 97. No, look, 2 + 2 = 69. That's what they think about. Whole logic, man. What's going on here? Let's continue on.
Between the two of you, if I could offer a translation. So I think Diddley's offering the counterpoint of, if your parents walked in on you and your spouse, or maybe, you and your boyfriend or whatever, your girlfriend, whatever, they walk in and oop, there you are.
Yeah, I know what she's making.
Or even more so, why they wouldn't want to stand there with the door open. However, I think Diddley, what David is saying here is that it would be just as easy to click a button and find your content online, only because it's distributed in that direction, so anybody can access it. Whereas your parents walking in on you would be a completely different, it's an oopsie, it didn't mean to happen, or something to that degree.
Yeah, but not only,
well, I don't necessarily mean
that
them
is,
like walking in and oopsie. I'm just like reiterating the point that obviously you not wanting your parents to see something has literally no bearing on whether or not I'm ashamed of something, and it also has no bearing on whether or not this is harmful to society.
Yeah, so what I'm saying here, and thank you, Sarah, for trying to be the middleman there, but what I'm saying is more deeper. Like, people are making, these content creators on OF are making a career path choice. This is a choice that they're making, and they're putting their content online for sale for the world to see, for whoever subscribes. That's much different, entirely different than some parents walking on two people having sexual intercourse. That's much different. Yours is a career path. Your analogy that you made just doesn't map on properly. You haven't given a good analogy. But another question, because your opening was kind of lame, so I really don't get your position. But to you, in regards to OF, and you think that it's not harmful, do you think that it has something
to
to do
society,
with,
just to be clear?
Society, it's not harmful
right.
to society.
Like you need an incredible claim to prove that it's harmful to society, not just interpersonal relationships and stuff like that. Like small scale. It has to be massive, large scale that you can prove it.
Yeah, and my argument, which the crazy thing is, bro, people be low IQ, man. My argument for this, because I'll get to it as well. I'll move this on a little bit, but just to explain it to the chat, because what he said, he's speaking about for a society level, and my argument was very, very clear. Before you get to a society, the society reflects relationships, because many relationships creates a society. So the society is a reflection of the relationships that we have amongst one another. That would be yes, right? I can't argue that. And that was my main argument. So even if we start at a micro level, right? We start at a micro level. If relationships are bad and they're transactional because chicks are on OnlyFans, or, Kyle's mom has her butthole online and he's being made fun of, and it's causing him depression and anxiety and things like that, we would say that it isn't good for that home. Now, if we just look at the stats, it shows that 1.4 million women are on OnlyFans in America. So that's 1.4 million women. And then there's 82 million men on OnlyFans, and 90% of them are married. So there's men online that's subscribed to women's OnlyFans that's married. And the thing about marriage, or even relationships, when it comes down to it, women, the way women view relationships when it comes to a man's resources is, my money is his money. But his money, my money is my money, but his money is my money. That's how women view it. And men view it like, my money is her money is her money. That's kind of how it is, because it's just the facts of it. Women hold 80% of consumer debt. So single women spend a lot, but women in relationships spend even more because they spend in the man's money. within that, women are with the man for protecting and providing. So one of the things that women expect is the money that's being spent is being spent on the things to further the relationship. If the man is subscribed to a OnlyFans chick, she's gonna be like, okay, the woman may not, the woman may be okay with the man watching, porn. But I don't think there's many women, there could be a few weird ones out there that would be like, oh yes, my husband is subscribed to Katie on OnlyFans and he loves her butt play. Like, no, if a woman finds that out that's married or in a relationship, she's breaking up with them, and she would be disgusted by her husband or her boyfriend even wanting to pay resources to watch a woman, where you could just watch some content for free. So this would cause the decay of relationships. And on a mass scale, if there's 82 million men, which has to be about 10% of the population, then it's 1.4 million women, which has to be about 1% of the population. It takes two to have a relationship. If we just scale that, it's gonna do a lot of damage, and it already is doing a lot of damage, and it's harmful to society because these two nitwits over here, Diddley and Holmes, they can't even understand this reality. They're so far gone of any type of moral grounding that they think that women selling content and men masturbating and purchasing their content is normal and okay. They think that it's okay. This is how you know that it's already destroyed. It's already destroying society now. And I brought all of these points up too on the debate. How did they get on the debate? Yeah, I don't know how they got on that debate. I know Sarah, Tommy, I see your chat. I know Sarah, Tommy. So me and Sarah, we've met before in person and stuff like that. She reached out to me too and asked me to be on her stuff plenty of times. So I think that was like my third time on her show. But you could just reach out to Sarah, hit her up on Instagram at The Raging Tomatoes, and if you're not if you're not well known, it'll probably be she'll let you in, bro. Just hit her up. I'm sure she'll let you in. She's cool. She's cool. But okay, put a 1 in the chat if you guys want me to continue on with this debate, because that's really all it was. They pushed from here, bro. They had no arguments, and I just kept murdering them, like walking them down logical paths. I could try to find some moments, because then they speak for a little bit, and but yeah, put a 1 in the chat if you want me to continue on, and I will. Put a 2 in the chat if you don't, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this up. 1 in the chat if you want me to continue on with this, reacting to this debate, or 2 in the chat if you don't. Let's see. See what the chat wants. Got a 2. Someone said 3. I guess that means no. Okay, we got a 1. Got a 1. Okay. Got some people in here that still want to see it. Got some 1s. Okay. 2s. It's even right now. 1s. Got okay. I mean, it's just the same people commenting, some 1s and 2s. So it looks like 2s won, because it's 2s and it's 3s and it's 5s, it's 12s. Someone said they saw it yesterday. Okay, fair enough. All right, I mean, that was it anyway. Nothing major happened. I made Diddley look really silly in one part. Maybe I can see if I can find that. In 2 parts, I made her caught her in some crazy contradictions. Maybe we could find that real quick. Let's see.
It's terrible for society.
Yeah, and I've already proved that in my opening, but I have a question for you. So do you think, do you think that, the extremes that it's actual intercourse, and then also
Okay,
I
I'm
would
not asking
not
you
promote
personally. I'm asking you
masturbation.
for a prescriptive claim. Like,
Prescriptive claim? No, I would not promote masturbation at all. So Diddley, let
why?
me ask you a quick why? Because I think it's disgusting. I think that it's not productive. I think that if anyone did it, they know that they feel ashamed of themselves. Think about the first time
I
you do
definitely
something
don't feel
like that.
ashamed when I
You
whack
felt
it.
ashamed of
You're
yourself.
just projecting.
Because you're void of morals. You're void of morals. I definitely don't feel ashamed when I do it. Well, guess what? That's a lie. If we just think about it, right? Like, it's all cope. They just use different forms of cope. I don't feel ashamed when I masturbate. Well, I said the first time you did something, right? After you get used to doing it, the morality, the level of your morality goes down because you've done it so many times. So you've built up this coping mechanism of your pleasure superseded what is actually right and wrong. I repeat, you get pleasure from something, right? Like, do you think, the first time someone did crack, yeah, they knew that it was wrong, but then the pleasure that they received from doing the crack, the high that they got, they kept doing it, but they still know that it's wrong, so they built up this cope. Like, no, crack is good. Crack is good. Stupid. Let's continue on. No, not projecting. I think most people probably did feel ashamed of themselves. I'm not projecting because I've never masturbated. So no. I've never done these acts. This no flap over here, bro. Just because he is Pamela Henderson, he beat his meat a lot, like probably 3 times a day, because he don't get no cheeks. All he can do is beat his meat.
You've never masturbated?
No, I don't do those acts.
I want to see if Kat,
That's
would
crazy.
you
Look, and that's how you know they're void of any morals. Wow, that's crazy. You've never masturbated. You've never pleasured yourself, bro. That's weird. Why am I touching my wing? What's wrong with you? I know many men do it. I just happen to be an exception. I'm not flapping. I've never flapped to the point where I ejaculated at all. That's disgusting. But you got some pleasure out of that after you had your release, huh? You've done it. Yeah, so you felt, bro, there's not one human being on this, well, no, that's not right. Because there are people that, they're just void of morals, bro. Could be how they were raised and a multitude of other things. But anyways, let's move on. Let's continue.
like an opportunity to chime in? I know David has
I'm just going to join Wave.
And internet websites and ensure that there's nothing wrong with masturbating.
Okay.
It has health benefits. It has
Split in his DM and was like, hey, honey. And he was giving her attention back and, communicating with her.
I personally wouldn't care, but I'm definitely an outlier in that respect. So.
Okay, so but they were flirting. Would you care if your man was flirting with another girl through Instagram DMs?
I wouldn't care. Like I said, I'm an outlier. So I'm obviously not going to. Most people aren't going to have that opinion. Okay,
so so with that being said, you're concluding that most people wouldn't be okay with their man flirting with a woman through Instagram DMs, right?
Sure.
Okay. So in one of the logical entailment of why they wouldn't be okay with it is because you're giving another woman attention. You're talking to another woman. You're communicating with another woman, right?
Well, yeah, it would be outside of the established boundaries of the relationship, which is no flirting with other people.
And do you think that most women would consider that cheating?
Flirting with someone else? Probably.
Probably, right?
Yeah.
So now think about if they're in a relationship, right? Mm-hmm. But he's watching someone's OnlyFans and whacking off.
So watching let me finish. Not the same thing as flirting with someone.
Wait. Let me finish.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
The question. Now we got that. I do know that watching porn or OnlyFans and whacking off is not the same as flirting with a girl. Is not on the same level. I would say a man watching porn and masturbating to another woman is much worse than just communicating with a girl, especially the girls on OnlyFans, because they can message them directly and the girls would message them back.
to you personally, watching porn is worse?
No,
Wait, David, can I ask you?
So here's an argument where, bro, she doesn't, she knows the truth because she already said the truth, but they don't know how to like follow an argument through. They know that you're leading them to a path of contradictions. So what they'll do is just say no without giving any justification for it. And that's all she did. She was just like, oh, I'm about to contradict myself, so let me say no to this answer. I said, yes, I said no to this one, so I got to say no to this one so I can stay in alignment. But then they wouldn't give any justifications for their answers. And I'll ask her for a justification, she wouldn't give it. So in this argumentation that I'm using here, I'm saying that, so if you catch your man flirting with a chick through DMs, most women will find that cheating. She said, yeah, most women will find that cheating. Now, versus a woman catch her man subscribe to a woman's OnlyFans account where he's paying money for it, where he's whacking golf for it, where he's sending, they're exchanging messages back and she's sending news, giving him exactly what she wants. And if it's a specific girl, which one is worse? Generally speaking, do you think most women would think that the OnlyFans situation is worse than the DM situation? She says no. And I said, well, explain how it's not worse. So here's just another argument where, she just totally like lost that. I just summed it up for y'all because it goes on for a while because she keeps saying no and then he interrupts. And this conversation probably is like 15 minutes long or probably like 20 minutes long because they keep contradicting themselves and then going back and then trying to like double back. So let's try to find another point. Now you can try to influence women to be to get into the military or to be an engineer. Yeah, you could try to influence them and maybe you can get some studs to go into that field. Japan has mandatory paid maternity leave. Diddley lied. Yeah, this was an argument that she was making about Japan and other things. But bro, they just make up lies. Bro, when you debate these feminists, just know that it's going to be cope and lies. Cope and lies. You're not really debating them. You're debating the figure of cope and lies. They're just a figurehead for cope and lies. That's what they are. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap up there. I just gave you a little bit more. I know most of the chat is probably like, we don't really care about this debate. They're not putting forth any arguments. This is how it is the whole time. I spoke the most. Kat really didn't speak too much. She gave some stats, which they never refuted. Holmes, he didn't speak at all. I asked him questions that he never answered. He never gave me any real definition of harm. He just said a bunch of nonsense that didn't even correlate to harm at all. He didn't want to expound on it when I said, well, explain and demonstrate how this would be harm and that won't be harm. He didn't go into any of that. And Diddley, she just kept doing the same thing, a bunch of cope and lies. But other than that, man, I'm going to go ahead and settle down, I guess, with tonight's stream. Things, it's not debate, just some questions. Tommy Graham. Hey, Tommy, man, I'm about to shut down, but I got your Instagram, man, so we can chop it up then, man. I see your private message. But yeah, we can chop it up backstage through IG. But other than that, man, this podcast is no Fugazi. Let me go ahead and stop sharing this stream. And get the likes up. Don't be a ninja watcher before you go. Do this. With me right now at 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You must be my main supporters. You must be the people that really rock with me, or you just a hater and just like, I'm gonna just watch this nigga junk and I ain't gonna like it. I'm just watch it. I'm gonna be a ninja watcher and just watch it and hate on this nigga from a distance. You could be one of those type of people too. But if I would make an assumption, a lot of y'all in here rock with me. So if you haven't like the podcast, subscribe tomorrow, I believe me and Marquette, we are doing the commission podcast tomorrow. Got to chop it up with him. See what we got lined up with that. We also have this Friday, 50-50 debate, 50-50 girls show. If not girls show, I'll do a debate panel, but I'll promote it where I'll try to get a lot of people on for debate night, and you guys are like that. It'll be like how it was before. You know, you've seen many streams where debate nights be lit, multiple people coming up, and all of that. Y'all know how it is. So if we don't do the girls panel, then Friday, we'll just kill it with a crazy debate night for y'all. Then we got Sunday is going to be the next live stream that I'm going to be doing. That's going to be reacting to content. We may include reacting with debates. Yeah. If we don't do girl show, we might as well do double debates. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. So Sunday, look like we doing some debates as well. If we don't do the girl show, we definitely do. If we do the girl show, we gonna do reaction Sunday. If we don't do the girl show, we doing debates Friday and Sunday. We getting it in. And then I have a debate with, he was on a whatever podcast. Jim Bob debated him, and Jim Bob debated him is Oliver. Jim Bob debated Oliver, and Andrew Wilson debated Oliver. I'm going to be debating Oliver June 1st on Sunday, and we're going to be debating, is feminism good for society? So we'll be doing that debate. I'm having him on. Currently, right now, is set for virtual, but I'm going to see if we can do something to try to get it in person. With debates like that, I like to debate these feminists in person, bro. Debates in person, period, I think is much better anyway. But if we can't get it in person, it'll be live stream. And if it's a debate like that, I'll see if I can get someone to moderate the debate. That's what I'll do. I'll see if I can get someone to moderate the debate between me and Oliver, just because it's more, it'll just be better with a moderator. But other than that, man, this podcast was no Fugazee. Thank you all for staying up with me until 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Anyone on the West Coast or in any countries, the West Coast, you're 3 hours behind, but if you're in any countries, hey, I don't know what time it is around there. It's probably morning time or something like that. But hit the like button, and we are out. Peace.